Oh my God.
Here it is. Operator error.
Hey, good morning, Jennifer. Can you hear us?
Oh, good.
I can see now.
Same.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Super. We're just gonna get a few more minutes until Amanda or Kayla get here, if that's all right. And sorry about the delay a little bit. Dayton Sheriff's Office, thank you.
Okay, then I'm gonna go right here.
Same.
What?
Oh, the higher, yeah.
They never sent it, and then we were on.
I
our way
think
to
they did,
Douglas.
but I think firewalls may have.
I'm ready when you are.
Lunch is just delayed, but no big deal.
I know, dang it, that's the best part.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Kate, are you ready to walk us through your budget, and however you'd like to do it?
Okay.
You feel free, please.
Well, good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
I've never done this before, so bear with me. So we are, for our 4 line items that we had previously, we're not asking for any increases. For our new lines that we are asking for, the EOC office supplies and the vehicle maintenance, those are currently being covered by the sheriff's office, so they would just be rolled over onto our line items. And then new asks would be about 9,000 plus 14,840 increase in salaries plus benefits. For training and exercises, this is a new ask. It is to increase responder and stakeholder education. And then for the public outreach and education, that's a new ask, and that is to increase community preparedness for emergencies and disasters. The radio maintenance is a new ask that goes along with the new comms position. That is for parts. Sorry, I'm nervous. That is for parts, equipment, tools, etc. And that position benefits the entire county, the fire district benefits, to help us keep that position filled. Open for questions.
Thank you, Kate. Commissioners, any questions?
Kate, on public outreach and education, what additional activities or what are you planning for that?
We try to go to a lot of public events and public education activities, and we like to have giveaways, and it's money for publications and things that we hand out to the public to increase awareness
Perfect.
and
Great.
preparedness.
Yeah.
Anything, Sue?
No, I don't.
Kate, do you need anything for, you were talking to me about having some sort of, I don't know, app or thing available for people that, if there's a fire, to put in their address and get the safest way out, away from the fire, or something like that, the emergency. Is there any money in there for this?
There's not. The county already pays for that through our Esri software that the assessor's office has. It was just a part of the system that we didn't know we had access to, that Karen found, and she's building that out. And at this time, it doesn't look like it'll cost us anything extra.
Super great. Thank you for researching that.
And so will you just use the sheriff's department app to get on there and look for your safest way out or whatever?
We have a login for
Yeah.
Esri for EMA and county fire.
Okay, because I was thinking not as a commissioner, but as a county resident. Okay.
We would be putting the links to all of that onto our Facebook page. As far as the app, I would have to defer to Karen on that one. I don't know.
Oh, okay, well,
I don't know all the ins and outs yet.
I just was thinking if it was an app, but if it's on the Facebook page, you could do a snapshot of that and you'd have it right in your phone. So
Thanks so much, Kate. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Sure.
You have city match too, right? What's that amount?
I believe 10,000.
$10,000 this year.
10,000? Okay.
Yeah.
For the coming fiscal year?
Yeah, for the coming.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep,
Is that delineated towards a line item or is it?
goes towards her salary
Okay, okay,
normally is what we've done.
okay. Awesome. Thank you.
And one thing I did leave out was the office supplies, well, actually just that line item. That is actually something that was cut from our EMPG funding last year. And that's why the sheriff's office has been covering it.
And your training is too. That was cut from the grant as well.
and you're asking for it.
Yep.
Good deal.
Thanks so much, Kate. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?
I'm doing well. Are you guys able to hear me okay?
Gotcha. Loud and clear. Do you want to start or do you want Rebecca or Under Sheriff Beeston?
I can start.
Okay,
Give
go.
me a second to kind of look at the screen. So for this year, for the operational budgets to start out, we'll start out with those since they're the easiest to go over. Ooh. You guys are scrolling on me. Sorry, I'm trying to see it on the phone and just keep moving the screen. Let's see here. Those are salaries. Do you have our operational budget right now? All I see is salaries. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. So, on the dues increased from 1,500 to 1,650, and that's just so we're asking for that extra $150 because that's an increase in the price of the dues that we have to pay every year. Canine supplies, we were asking for an extra $2,000 from 6,000 to 8,000. The care and upkeep of our canines with two of them have increased quite a bit. And so that's where you see that increase as well. And public relations, crime prevention. Looks like that's an increase from 6872 to 7,000. I believe I'm looking at this correctly. And that increases just for the cost of our educational crime prevention outreach programs that we go to. So there's a number of community programs, community events that we've increased attendance at over the last 3 years, and really kind of established our footing. And so that's why you see the increase in that budget. That's for publications, giveaways, recruitment, fees, registration fees for some of the events that we have to go to as well. So then maintenance equipment is from 22,000 to 30,000. And I know Rebecca's there. She can remind me, is this our vehicle maintenance?
No, I don't believe you did vehicle maintenance update because we have the tax monies and so our fleet has been depleting.
So this is just, okay. So this is just for maintenance of, I believe.
The detention center.
This is a detention center maintenance equipment. So what we did a few years ago is we did not renew our contract for the detention maintenance budget, because at that time the amount of the contract was more than the maintenance that's required for it. We've stayed fairly even with the maintenance costs that we have at our detention center, except for this year. Excuse you. There was a few repairs that we had to make, and so like I said, most years we're able to stay right at that $20,000 to $22,000 mark for maintenance, but we are asking for an increase in that maintenance budget to 30,000 so that we can keep the upkeep. This is for all of our, essentially our mechanical equipment in our mechanical room. Any questions or concerns about the operational budget?
Terry or Sue, any questions? Sheriff, with that detention maintenance, can that come out of the detention foundation account? Tracy, I guess I'm looking at you, or
It can come out of the interest on the jail endowment, yes.
it can come out of the interest of the jail endowment. Sorry, my words are all screwed up. So it can, and we have.
You would transfer into the general fund based on actual expenditures. It wouldn't be based on the budgeted expenditures.
Okay. And Rebecca, had you guys anticipated that or not anticipated that?
No, we just purchased a new water heater for about $18,000, and then the chiller, I believe, it just went out as well, and they can't redo whatever is in the jail, and so they're trying to put one on the roof. And so that's gonna, yep, so that's gonna be a price, but I don't know what that looks like, but it's an old building.
Yeah.
And so much like the courthouse, it's gonna need a lot of work.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't know what else is going to break.
Tracy, you have an idea how much is in that? Jail.
Additionally, it was just a little under 200,000. I want to say it was like 170,000. However, I would need advance notice because it's all invested at the time, so I would need to divest to all the transferred in.
Can we pay it with general fund, divest, and then repay
Yeah,
ourselves?
we would reimburse ourselves. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay. Sheriff Appleton, had you thought that that's the way you wanted to do this, or the only thought for me is those are really specific funds, the jail endowment funds. We can't use them any other. And that this might be a way to do some of this maintenance with freeing up general funds, which we're a little more flexible with.
We could. So the thought behind it is to, for some of the larger purchases, to try and use general fund money for it to allow that endowment fund to continue to grow, since it is interest-bearing account. So we basically use that as a rainy day fund, for lack of a better word. So when it rains and it leaks or building, knock on wood, either cracks or goes on fire or something like that, that's where that jail endowment fund, where it currently sits, would be utilized for. So these other maintenance costs that end up costing anywhere between 10 to 20 to 25,000. So we like to use those out of the general fund. They're usually one-time purchases that are not repeat costs, repeat repairs for that facility.
Sheriff and Tracy can use those funds. Let's say you grew it to enough. At some point, you're gonna have to replace the detention center. Can you use those funds to replace the detention center, or is it only?
I would have to research that. I don't know that we could use the full amount of the endowment for that. And the interest is not enough to make a new detention center by any means. There is some other money left over too that I just thought of for when it was built at the jail overage, and I think that's got 800,000. Let me open that file. It's one of those that we went through very quickly yesterday. Yeah, 851,000 is in that other jail overage, and that doesn't have restrictions far as only using the interest or not keeping the corpus full.
Okay.
So roughly about 100 or 900,000 ish to $1 million to use.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Sheriff?
I did, which is good. Just to give you guys a heads up, one of the future projects that we're looking for at the detention center, we are going to have to replace our software program that runs the doors and the cameras in there. And we're currently in the process of working with the company to see how much that's going to cost to update that system. I have a feeling that it's not going to be cheap. So it's good to know that we have those other funds, because we are most likely going to be making that purchase in this next fiscal year.
Sheriff, I don't believe you can use those funds for software. It would have to be a capital improvement or improvements on the building.
And we can talk a little bit about kind of the semantics between kind of what those capital improvements are. If we need that software to run our doors and our cameras. So we could talk a little bit later about what's considered physical capital.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was just, for us, trying to use the pots that are the most specific first is really a goal. And then we have the pots that are a little more general based. Great. Any other questions? Take us where you'd like us to go, Sheriff, then next. Where would you like us to go? Maybe Rebecca?
Sheriff wanted me to give you guys use.
Thank you.
You should have them in the file, but.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you so much. But now I
We
really.
can either talk about salaries or retirement.
You lead.
Tell us where you want to go.
Let's talk about retirement first.
Okay.
So the state legislature had
You can pull that up.
I don't know that, is there a retirement file in the budget folder?
I believe it's just in the ask. He put it in his request, so in the, where it sasays explanation of
Explanation of
increases
increases.
is where it should be. Yep, and there should be a retirement section on there.
Cause it's a lot easier to read on the screen than it is on this. If at all possible. I think it's just narrative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, for the retirement request, it's just his narrative.
So there's,
It's loading, it's discussed.
yeah,
Circle of death.
So to summarize the narrative for you, the state legislature had passed a bill to where there is an increase in law enforcement retirement contributions, which I believe comes out to 5.8% over the next 3 years. With the breakdown being, you might have to remind me of this, I believe it's a 0.9% increase this fiscal year. And then I believe it's a 1.8% increase for fiscal year 2026 and 2027. I have my years right. And so there's an option through that bill that's stated of either of how we would want to divvy up that increase in contributions. There's an option for the county to cover that cost, or to split the costs between the employer and the employee. So, but it is one that we have to comply with by July 1st. So I believe in the ask, I asked the county to cover essentially that 1% increase in retirement contribution funds for law enforcement.
Commissioners, any questions about that? Is there a difference between retirement for deputies and non-deputies at the county? What is the difference?
So the main difference is that, so the public side of it requires, either to meet the rule of 85 or, be eligible by their standards for retirement. Law enforcement, you just have to be in there for 20 years. It is different rates as well. And then, the law enforcement look back is a little smaller than the public sectors is for their rate of pension. And then, the county does pay a portion of the employee part for both public and law enforcement. It is not the same currently. So,
What is it? What is the difference? Is there a difference?
right now we pay 15.19% for the public, and because the law enforcement percentage was smaller, 13.47, I think, for law enforcement. And then the employees pay the rest of that percentage. The public percentage right now is 18.62, and law enforcement's going from 17.2 to 19.
And so Sheriff, your core request is that 0.09% in 2024 be covered entirely by the county.
Yes.
I understand it. Okay.
The,
And then
the reasoning behind it is just the county is already paying essentially a percentage for our public workers. And all I'm asking is the county to essentially pay about the equal percentage for all of our law enforcement.
And then just so I understand it, it's rule of 85 for law enforcement, 60 years old, 30, 25 years. And
Whatever
yeah,
you qualify, like, so if I didn't meet the rule of 85, my age for retirement under Wyoming retirement is different than, it depends on when you started the program.
yeah.
And then law enforcement is just a straight 20 years.
Okay, and I know the public is the last 3 years averaged, your retirement's based upon that?
The last three, if you're in
Less.
tier one, after sometime in 2012, it switched and now it's a 5-year look back.
Okay, and is that the same for the sheriffs and deputies?
I can't remember,
Yes.
but I think it's still a
Yeah, high
three.
5.
Is
The
it a 5 now?
Yep,
I
the
thought it was like
highest
3.
5 years.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
So highest 5 with a minimum payout of 50% at 20. And then if you decide to work more than 20 years, there's a percentage increase every year you work until it caps out at 30 years, which is 75% of highest 5 salaries.
yeah. And what is this number approximately? So it's 0.09%. Is there a dollar figure, or is that yet to be determined by us?
It's to be determined, so, let me bring up the salary spreadsheet here.
Do you want to share?
I didn't, register
Oh, you
yet or sign up. But, so, I think we didn't know what we were doing, so just for number's sake, we made the, percent for the sheriff's side up to equal what the public one was. If you want to go above that, that is your choice. So we, just for number's sake, we put it equal to the, so we upped it from the 13, up to the 15.19, which is the same as the public. So it does up the, employee's side a bit as well to get to that 19.
Yeah. What
You can adjust however you guys,
would 0.09 of the salaries be right now for retirement? What, I mean, what is that hard number? Is that 100,000? Is that?
like the full increase?
Yeah,
in Albany County? Okay, let me.
thank you.
Yeah.
And then any other questions for the sheriff while Amanda's figuring for us on retirement? Sheriff, how about salaries then, if that's where you'd like to go? We have no other
Sure.
questions.
Sure. So in front of you, you guys should have a lot of different numbers, packet full of numbers in there. Salary increases anywhere from, I believe, 1% on up to, I think, 6% is in that packet as well. And then a salary survey of the other sheriff's offices within the state of Wyoming. And then starting salaries included with our local agencies as well. So I believe in the narrative that I provided, we asked for 6% raise this year to put us put us more in line with our immediate local agencies, the two within Albany County, Laramie PD, University of Wyoming PD, and then I believe I guess our neighbors, I don't want to call them competitors, but our neighbors immediately close to us, so which is Carbon, Natrona, Platte, Laramie, and Converse counties in there. And those salaries are accurate. I believe as of March of 2024. 6%, I believe, will put us essentially at what that new market value is for 2024.
Is that market value somewhere, Sheriff? I just have a list of different numbers on the raises in the packet. So 10%, 6.5%, 6%. Is that in your stuff? I don't remember running by it. Did anybody else see
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, those are in there as well, and I don't have those in front of me. I apologize because I'm having technological difficulties here at the conference where I'm at. But those are hard numbers that we ran for you to show you what that increase will look like in terms of increase in salaries total based on everybody that we have here and where they are in their longevity process.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy, for bringing that up. Questions, commissioners?
Oh, thank you. Yes, you're welcome.
As you guys have seen, I've said this in years past where you guys have been pretty generous in terms of giving us what we ask for and fulfilling the requests that we've had. And I know that those salary costs as we compete to stay afloat with all of the other law enforcement agencies are going to continue to rise here and there over the years. Usually it's been a small manageable percentage, as we're starting to see now that percentage and the gap between our starting salaries and everybody else's is starting to widen. So to keep us competitive in terms of recruitment and really more importantly now, retention more than anything else, that's really the main reason why we're asking for that increase specifically for the sheriff's office.
Just so I can understand the Albany County law enforcement salary ranges, those are just new hires. That's what those ranges are? Sheriff, it says City of Laramie recruits starting 49, max 57.
That's all the city. That's not us.
Right. But that is just like hiring a person out the door. It's not if they advance up.
City of Laramie recruit, that's when someone is going to be there before the academy and or completing FTO versus the City of Laramie police officer. Once they're completed their field training, that's what they receive.
Okay. And then a lieutenant makes more than that in the City of Laramie police officer, right? This is just the police officer.
Yeah, that is.
Yep. That's just the police officer.
Okay. Yeah.
That completed training.
The completed training is the 49,000 is the
Right,
recruit,
okay.
and then the police officer, that's when they've completed it.
Perfect. Thank you.
If you guys want the numbers of what their sergeants and lieutenants and assistant chief make, we can get that to you as well. I will note that gap widens fairly quickly between our staff and their staff, and it is the same also in terms of I believe Laramie County, Converse County, Natrona County. I'm unaware of what those numbers would look like from both Platte and and carbon. So
Aaron, so
And I-
you've given us several options here from 1% to 6%. You're
yes,
asking for the 6%?
yes. I won't be opposed if you guys want to give us 10%.
Anybody, any questions about the salary? It seems fairly straightforward. And that 6% is to your non-sworn people too. Is that your ask also, Sheriff?
Yes.
Any questions? And then thank you for this information. I mean, I have a hard number right there. It's easy to see on both of those. So it's and then do you have a number for us?
So before raises being considered, if the county paid for the full increase this year, it would increase the budget by around 53,000.
Okay. And would you be able to tell me if we went full 6%, what that would be?
Yes.
Then you don't have to tell me right away. Amanda, we'll give you some time. Sheriff, do you have any other stuff that you'd like to talk about in your budget?
Do not. It's pretty straightforward. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, concerns, please let's take this time to go over those, whatever thoughts may be, and they can be answered by either myself or under Sheriff or Rebecca.
Yeah.
Do you want to review the detention center medical? That's separate from.
Oh yeah, the detention center medical. It's just a 5%. But anything else you want to give to us on that, Sheriff?
So the detention center medical, we're going into our last year of that contract. And so what we are planning on that contract will be fulfilled. I believe it's either September 1st or September 15th of 2025. I did speak with Jennifer Curran about the first of the year because Core Health did approach us about essentially extending the contract, and they gave us a price. And for the price that was quoted, we made that decision that I think it would be better. We're going to be required to go out to bid again. So the timeline for this new fiscal year is to put out that RFP sometime around Christmas or the New Year, and have it have a little bit more of a prolonged RFP process to the tune around 5 to 6 months. See what bids we get in, and go through our normal RFP bid process and have somebody ready to go and sign a contract, whether that be Core Health or somebody else that comes in for July 1 of 2025.
So the new person or Core Health will start July 1, 2025, even though the contract goes to September of 2025?
Yeah, there's a transition. We'll have a transition process. Core Health will most likely finish out in September, even though we'll have kind of bids and ready to go. The contract will be signed and ready to go. It usually takes a little bit of time if there's a new provider to come in and kind of get settled in. And so using that 2.5-3 month window from July to September will be a good transition phase. If it ends up being Core Health, then that transition phase won't be needed, but it'll also put us a little bit more in line with the fiscal year instead of the little bit of overlap that we have in that contract.
Thanks, Aaron. Any other questions about detention center salaries, reserve, anything? Any last things you guys want to tell us about the sheriff's budget we need to know?
No, there's not much that I can think of. Like I said, everything's right on there. You guys got to see what our expenditures are, what the revenues are that are coming in, and the services that we provide. So
I have one question, just on the revenue side. Are you anticipating raising the cost of detention for inmates in the coming year?
Yes, we are. So there's a couple of things that we're looking to increase the cost of. So one's kind of a small cost is the city match for EMA. We got that increased from 5,000 to 10,000 this year. We asked for 25,000, but they've decided to use some leftover money that the city has to deal with some of the drainage and sump pump issues that they have at Fire Station 3. But we already have kind of plans in the works between my office, the Laramie Fire Department, to increase that to the full 25,000 next fiscal year. Right now, we are charging, I believe it's $65 a day for municipal housing at the detention center. That going rate is usually right around $90 to $95 a day per inmate. And that's the increase that we're going to look to go to once that MOU is expired. And if I remember right, that MOU expires next year as well. And so when we had our MOU discussions and negotiations back in 2021, I gave full disclosure to the city that an increase would be coming for that second MOU. So, when we look to reopen those talks again, they shouldn't be blindsided on what that increase is going to look like.
Thanks, Sheriff. Jennifer, is there anything in that MOU that allows us to do it sooner than that? Because I know the EMA contract, or not the EMA, the EMS contract has gone up from the city. Is there a way to make that happen, or do you know, Jennifer, off the top of your head? Maybe you do.
Sorry, Pete, I'll have to look at that contract. I haven't looked at it, but I can pull it up and look at it and see.
I can do the same thing too here in a few days when I go back. Most of our MOUs are standard, so there is usually a termination clause within our MOUs, but I don't know the specifics offhand right now of what the termination clause looks like in that MOU.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Anything else? I'm done asking questions. Right. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Genevieve. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. Did you have that number for 6%?
So for just the retirement for the 6%?
Yeah.
To change, so if we did the 6%, retirement difference will go up to around 60,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Who's up next? How about Rob? Rob, are you ready to go? Yep. Thanks, Rob. Good morning, Rob. Just walk us through however you want to walk us through this.
Okay, I guess we can go down the list there. You see salaries have gone up a little bit. A lot of that was we did add a new position, which thank you guys for that. It's very much needed. And then any other changes down there, we on training, we added $300. We took away $250 to our safety clothing, and then we added $900 to contract services, which a lot of our contract services is deals with diagnostics, the computers, so you can plug them into the vehicle and basically gives you a diagnostic. And of course, with that comes the maintenance fee, yearly maintenance fee. So that has gone up a little bit. As far as in our parts, heavy equipment and vehicle repair, those numbers in there used for parts, filters, bearings, brake shoes, glass, any of the internal type parts that would be needed for repairs. As far as our cutting edges, tires, wear parts, we take that out of our Boswell Springs account. And this last year, the Boswell Springs account had, I have it here somewhere. For tires, cutting edges and such, plow edges, we used 25,000. So that has been helpful to take that out of not have to take that out of the general fund. Any questions?
Any questions? Are you fully hired and staffed?
Right now we are. We do have one temporary. We had 2 temporary positions. One of them decided not to continue. So right now we just have one temporary position. It's working well. I mean, I'm not saying we could always use another person, but that may be something to look down the line is adding a position. As far as the hard part, temporaries work well, but it seems like it takes a year or, by the time the summer's over, you feel comfortable letting them do things where they're not really being monitored all the time and stuff. So, if you could change that to a full-time position, I'm sure it'd be easier on the rest of the crew, and we would probably be a little more efficient. So. What's worked well is the temporary guy that's still there this year has been there for 3 years.
So he's sort of not temporary.
Right. Yeah. He goes to university. So it's one of those that's worked out well for him, and it's worked out well for us, especially since we know him, he knows us, kind of thing.
But do you anticipate that he'll move on?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because he's graduating this year. So next year, I would assume, unless he loves us so much, he would probably try to pursue his graduate or his degree.
And it's temporary just in the summertime.
Yeah. Basically middle of May till the 1st of September.
Okay.
And a lot of this for the temporary position. For this one, he's had to go back to school, so that's why we kind of ended it. Actually, it's been the middle of August. I mean, if it was somebody that wasn't going to school and we had work to do in September, we would continue them on until we got to the winter season. But
and the difference between 2 temporaries and 1 full-time, would 1 full-time be able to take care of the 2 temporaries?
You always have those cattle guards and things where you need that person to be the laborer or whatever, grab the chain, wrap the chain, that kind of thing. I mean, it always works well if you got an extra person like that. But I think where the full time is when we start running equipment more, driving trucks and things. And if they have a CDL, our temporary that's still with us doesn't have a CDL. So he's kind of a little bit limited on things that we can do with him, but he doesn't mind running the shovel. So he's a really good worker.
It's like if you mind running a shovel, you get to run a shovel a lot.
Yeah.
mops are similar.
Yeah, yeah.
Any questions for Rob? Rob, thanks so much.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yep. I appreciate you getting us another position last year. It's really, we got him up in Rock River right now, and it's working well. It also allows if somebody retires to give us a little bit of a buffer, so we're not behind right off the bat.
And I have to say, without mentioning names, that in North Albany, they've been very happy.
Yeah, that's worked
way
out
to
really
go.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Rob, do you have people close to retiring? I recognize that smile.
That's out there in the horizon, but I do have probably two others that are in the 60s. So
And are your salaries competitive, or do you lose people?
actually, we've moved our salaries. We've had to bump our starting salary up to try and get people interested. Consequently, with that, it's, you got to make sure you're not bringing somebody in that's untrained, making more than the guys. So we bumped some of their salaries up. I did move, Joan, we kind of advertised within the department for a foreman, and we did pick Jeremy Sellers, who you guys will be meeting a little more often. I'll be bringing him to some of the meetings just so he gets familiar with the paperwork. So, yeah. I mean, if you talk to the guys, I'm sure they would always want salary increases and stuff. We've actually worked some of these out. I've talked to Amanda about some of it. So,
Yeah.
Salary. I mean, everybody's would like an increase, but we do what we got to do, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'd hate to see if you're just training them for 6 months and then they're just taking
Yeah.
a job, driving a truck.
No, most of we haven't really had, knock on wood, anybody that's really started that hasn't stayed unless there's been, one gentleman that he moved back to Oklahoma because he was needed back there with his family, but he also, although there's opportunities. I mean, he worked out well, but he just had to. It was a personal deal. So
Yeah. Okay.
the main problem really with the salaries is the starting salary. When you're looking at somebody driving a truck or piece of equipment, and we're competing with the construction crews around here, they're getting $28 to $30 an hour, where ours we just basically around starting is around 21, 22. So
But that makes a big difference.
yeah, but we're also getting benefit. I don't know what the
No, and
packages
a lot of
are. So
that
there's
doesn't
the
get
benefits. Yeah. So there is that way in, but younger people don't. Benefits
Not
don't
really
mean
need the
it.
benefits.
Yeah,
and then
benefits don't mean
benefits
they
are
tell you.
important.
When you get closer to retirement, you start looking at the benefits going,
Oh, shoot.
oh, yeah, exactly. How can I
Yeah,
retire? I
what?
can't afford it. The benefits.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Sally, is it you next?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you, Sally.
Good morning.
Morning.
So pretty direct for the most part. The only things I wanted to touch base on were my supplies and postage this year. I know I went over on that line item, but I'm not asking for an increase just because I had to purchase some concrete supports for that cooler out at Search and Rescue, and that was like a one-time purchase, so that was a significant amount of that line item. So I think I should be good moving forward, not increasing that. Uniform expense was kind of the same way. I just had a bunch of new deputies that needed clothes that actually fit them. And then I'm asking for a small bump on my auto expense. It just seems like the price for oil changes has gone up, everything just increases. So I have to replace the windshield on one of the trucks again and those sorts of things. So I just feel like that might give me a little bit of buffer room. And then the other thing is adding the line item on there. Is it not? Okay. So it's all it is a equipment and maintenance, facility maintenance, line. And I think it's the same as the auto expense is what I asked for. I know it's on my expenditure thing, but
It's the maintenance, for the body cooler, grenades, that stuff.
yeah.
You asked for
700. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And that's, we just, with that new cooler that we got and everything last year, I just didn't think ahead. So when we had to do some maintenance on that cooler, I have no other line item that's appropriate for that. So I just feel like a little bit of buffer. Anthony helped me out and got that all up and running. So it shouldn't have to happen that often. But I mean, we've got our one electronic gurney, our regular gurneys. If any of those things ever need any sort of maintenance or work on them, I just need a line item for that, I think. And I think 700 is safe if that's what the 2 trucks are usually good with. So that's kind of all I got. You have any questions?
Sally, where is that maintenance you're just talking about? Is it?
It's not in
It's
there.
not
Okay.
listed here, but
Yeah.
it was
No.
in her
There
narrative.
it is. Okay.
Yeah, and it's in my expenditure from this last one because we had to pay that out. So
Any questions, Sally? I don't either.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
okay, thank you guys.
Mine added Tracy.
I'm gonna get out of there, or we're gonna get ready. And you can do your Amanda D things.
Okay.
Okay, I should be out of there, I think.
Thank you. I'll get it in here.
Chelsea, you ready to go?
I am ready.
Awesome, thank you. Walk us through however you'd like to.
Okay,
It's up to you.
thank
So-
you. Okay, so really, I do kind of have a big ask. I'm asking for another person. Back in 2016, when we did the layoffs, we lost 3 people and we haven't filled any of those 3 positions. And now with all of the new legislation with the cap and the long-term homeowners, we're kind of drowning. And so I am asking for another position to help us with those exemptions. The cap this year applied to single-family residential only. For 2025, it will include the land, but they're going to be 2 separate processes. And then also the long-term homeowners exemption will apply for 2025. And I'm anticipating anywhere between 1,000 to 1,200 applicants. So that'll be a pretty big workload for us. So along with that, I would need an increase of about $1,200 with my travel and mileage because that person would have to be certified. And it cost me about $1,200 a year for an employee to get certified. Really, other than that, so my dues are going up a little bit, about $240, but I've lowered my office by $300 to cover that expense. And then also a change that I have, my assessment schedules, I have 4,000, and I think we can drop that to 3,000 because I got my bill this year and it was about $2,600. So we can lower that by 1,000.
Assessment schedules to 3,000.
Yes. And I am looking to change Karen's title. Right now, she is titled Senior GIS Analyst. I would like to change her to, what's the title? GIS Administrator. Her job has really grown over the past couple of years since Alan has retired. She's doing a lot of stuff for the county. And it's really kind of growing outside of my department, which is great. I'm glad that people are utilizing her, but she's spending a lot of time training Mo so that she can take over what Karen does for my office so that Karen can focus more on the county needs. So that's another increase that we're seeing, but I believe my raise reserve will cover that change. So.
Any questions?
No, but I have a comment, and I think that you need an additional person beyond a doubt with this additional workload that's coming down.
Yeah, Brandy and I were working till midnight, just applying that 4% cap this last year. And I had to do that the prior year, and I just don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. And it's a lot for me to ask of Brandy too, so.
Well, it's a lot to ask for both of you, you know, because you've already done all your other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is a future question, but if some property tax goes away and we increase sales tax, what will that do to the workload in your office?
You know, I don't really know what that would look like, because I don't know if we would still be responsible for setting values and putting values on those, all the properties in Albany County. So I don't know, you know, for my field team, I don't know what that would look like.
I would almost think you would still have to, so we would know what the state would be back there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That would be my
that's a good
guess.
point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The backfill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, right.
Yeah.
I'll cash that check. But yeah, well, I'm just interested because I think that it's not well known, as people are asking to have property taxes reduced, that it means something completely different here than it does in Campbell County. And you know, it might have real repercussions to services here. In fact, I suspect it will. So,
Yeah.
So yesterday was just my general office budget and today is the match budget. I want to let you know that majority of what I'm going through, you guys have already approved in applications that we've already submitted. So you are already committed to some of this. So if you want to change, it's a little too late.
Oh, you're saying SOL is what you're.
Pretty
saying.
much,
Yeah.
yes. I'm just saying the nice
Call
way.
No, that's the right one.
yep.
Did it get bigger?
A little.
It's not getting big enough, is it?
I can squint that note. I can see that really well. Thank you.
So the first one is the EMA, the supplemental from the city. That's 10,000, like we talked about earlier. Drug court, we have increased to 54,000 mainly because of the rent. We thought they were going to go in the one place. Now it looks like they're in the other place. We have already committed to this though with the grant, and it's already been approved. Little Laramie, Big Laramie, those are those mosquito grants that I put forward when we received our funding from the state. The EMA management, that's the additional match that is required by that grant. So it's a 50% match. So that's the amount we needed to pay for the rest of Kate's salary, the radio tech salary, and the little bit of travel that they get. Bulletproof vests. Some of these funds are rolled over from last year that were unused, and some of them are for this new request that I'm putting in tomorrow. HIDA is the same that we've done each year. The EIMP surveillance, that money actually goes to the city. That's our contract with the city. They have to do our surveillance for us for that emergency insect grant. Because we don't have the resources to do that, so we just contract with them. Unanticipated, it's just $10,000 again. This comes in handy quite a bit. Every now and then I have a department head that charges something they should not have, and I need to pull it from somewhere. Crime victim witness has done some rearranging this year. So the match I need is not quite as much. I believe, I don't know if Kurt has brought it forward to you guys. Kurt has made Fawn a part-time person and has hired then somebody else at a lower salary rate. So that's the reason for the decrease there. And we are also getting $50,000 from the city this year for crime victim witness, and there's $2,000 that'll go unused this year that I'll roll over next year. VOA, juvenile housing, we've actually haven't had that grant in the past 2 years. However, when I was working on this budget, I got an email that grant is now back. YSAC took it over. However, I haven't seen anything about it. I'm sure there's going to be a match, so I'm just leaving the 20 in there. I may have to come back in front of you for more match, so I don't know what that'll look like because it's a new funder that's going to hold on to it. Crime victim witness health insurance and PHRC health insurance. We do use towards our match for those grants, and those I asked Amanda to ask the health insurance management team, and I believe those got approved there. Juvenile drug court, that was the state drug court match again. It's increased because of the rent we thought it was going to be. Now we're already committed to that. The crime victim witness attorney fees, those are attorney fees we get for the state. It was for Becky's position. I hear she is leaving us. So now it's whoever fills that position in the crime victim witness grant. Historic Preservation Board, there was 2 grants this year that you guys approved that did have match involved. One of them was that West Side project, and then the other one was that conference that will be in the next month or so. So that's just the total of that. EMA health insurance, at this point, Kate does not take health insurance. I do always worry with our grants because majority of our grants don't let you change salary or during the grant. So I always worry if somebody has to pick up health insurance, and we've already dropped it so low. So I've worked it with Amanda that we're going to just put it in there as well. So we have it there. Wildlight is our grant with the, oh my goodness, the detention center, the lighting over there, and then the one that I brought to you yesterday as well. So that'll be the match for both those 2. Adult diversion. It looks like a lot, but it's really not because half of it's coming from the city. This is for the entire grant. It is a 4-year grant. However, I just like knowing that it's in there, and I don't have to worry about asking for more if she happens to go through all the match in 1 year. But that is what's required by the grant. The fire CWPP is a plan that he's working on with grant funding. That's the $15,000 there. We just haven't quite used it yet for that grant because that grant doesn't end until the federal fiscal year. And then I have a separate engineering line for Jake. I want to request $150,000 this year for that, mainly for a new facility project that we're still working on. I have Skyline that we're going to reapply for as long as you approve that. We did get turned down at Reconnect, but we'd like to reapply for it. We had some really good feedback with DOT, and we had the state is actually offering those matching funds again, and they encouraged us to apply again there as well. So it's all that work he does there. It's all the work he's going to do for hopefully Safe Streets if we get it. But it's just any grant related work that he does. The 2 new items I do have is our Safe Streets match. I talked with Rob when we applied for Safe Streets, and it's going to be combined with a few different pots of money. So the city is going to be putting towards that because it was a joint application, and Rob's going to be pulling some of that match out of his SPET funding. I don't know which year, so don't ask.
I need to know right now.
Okay. And then I said we could put some in this match as well. And then finally, the blue sky, I have yet to hear if we've received it. However, if we do, we need to have that match on hand. I know that we're possibly going to look at a credit to then reimburse that, but we still have to pay it out first. So, any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Bailey.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Does Jake's contract fit under somewhere else too? Like the engineering contract, does it, besides Bailey's, does it go somewhere else also?
I think there's some in the general fund. And then if it's, I know Rob has taken some out of the road fund and asked for something, but that's been a bit ago.
I think it kind of depends on the work he does.
Okay.
I mean, I even had Jennifer change his contract this year. So if we do get a grant and I can pay engineering services out of it, I want to be able to pay Jake from it. However, just our contract has to be worded completely different. Yeah.
Any questions?
Thanks, Bailey.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thank you, Bailey.
Adam, you ready back there? Sir. Thank you. Is this it? Is this the last?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We're out of money. Sorry, Adam, we're out of money. Look at that.
Okay, let me just go sit back down. That didn't work out well. I will work on scheduling a little better next
I
time.
think he'll figure out a way to say, well, we need to relook at this. Because
I
without
politely ask you
the
to
rest of us
reconsider.
are in trouble across the board.
That's hilarious. I
Yeah,
think
you
I
don't
told
wait
that
to be
all
the last one.
All right, yeah, I get told weekly that our budget's getting
I've
cut,
been
so it's
hoping,
okay.
Tracy, that somebody came in and said, today, I don't need no more money. I was gonna say, give us $1 and you win.
Oh, are we doing the prices right? Like, yeah, if I ask for $1, you get everything under the sun. Let's
No, well, no, because like there were like 3 or 4 departments yesterday that asked for no increases at all. So in order to beat them, because they were coming in even with Tracy, I was gonna go, give us $1 and you get the win.
Well,
But I don't think you're gonna get the
in good
win.
conscience, I can't do that, unfortunately. If that was within my power, I would do so.
Okay, walk us through however you want to walk us through, Adam.
Sure, we're gonna flip through a couple different sheet sets. We'll just let Tracy, I guess, drive the sheet
It's
machine
not this
here.
one, I bet, though.
That one works. We can start there.
Oh. Oh, wait, I do have IT up, sorry.
Yep, you're good there. The majority of it sits in kind of the 1% or the 415 accounts, but we'll start here on the general line items. The only change allocated there was the contracted services. I asked for a $5,000 increase. Someone had put a question for the commission line, so just a little broad set there. This is essentially physical work or subscription work that doesn't fall under kind of the IT banner, things that we lead or initiate or support with the project. So say there's, a grant fund or something like that. This can carry in to help any of the secondary costs. Some of the subscription costs associated with the tool sets that we utilize. An example of that would be like the newer ticketing system, which I will caveat at, we haven't even had a year yet, and we're nearing 17,000 tickets. And that doesn't include the standard workload. So at any times we're running anywhere from 30 to 35 ticket base, and closing and completing on a daily, somewhere between 7 to 10 requests a day. So the team is running hard. We're at quite a bandwidth. Is there anything else in relation to that page that you want to talk on? I don't really normally touch any of the raise reservation or any of the salary set. I leave that to the team and what you guys are defining there. I would like to see Wilson at some point pulled into alignment with Ben. He's become a critical asset for us in terms of our, cloud infrastructure and a lot of our implementations there. And I'd like to see that lined if possible, but I'll leave that at your discretion. I don't know if I made that ask again. I don't normally touch that. It's just opening it up for that conversation. And then the below items and continuing ed was the same. Computer replacement moves to a different line item. I just put these here as they're self-represented. So if we want to flip to the 1% 415, that would be the next segment. As I do too. And I never really know where to put the number because it's kind of represented in a couple places as we've been making some of these definitions into accounts and some of the restructure. I really look forward to the new ERP system where this can be streamlined and visibility can be that instead of trying to carry across from my own like shadow systems and such. So big changes to note or changes of awareness. I want to talk VMware. If you're not following the VMware essentially buyout, Broadcom purchased VMware. In that purchase, they went and kind of prioritized the 1%, the big business set, their large data compute structures. Entities have seen reoccurring cost increase from 200 to 500%. It is crazy out there. I prepped us at an ask of a 200% increase. Just to do that, we should be seeing numbers. Broadcom's been closed and they're not issuing numbers earlier this month and into earlier month when I was requesting to get that. So what I've done to compensate that is lower our infrastructure cost set to help compensate some of that. So if we don't use all those funds there, we'll run and utilize them on our infrastructure side in the hopes that we level out. We did evaluate some other solutions due to the increase, but really the best integration point is keeping what we have, and that's what we're looking to do. If it becomes way too cost effective, we'll make the movement, but with everything else the team's already handling in terms of elections, ERP, and as you can see, the ticket load that we're currently associating with, trying to rip our virtual infrastructure in segment and migrate was hard to ask and pretty well out of the ballpark. I'll dig it up and try to get it done, but just a warning, that's what we're asking there. Replenishing on the short tail account, which is the phone system. It's the old naming for the phone system. So kind of taking you through a full project scope. After election, we'll start beginning the allocation and the resources and the full investigation associated to a migration to a cloud phone system. Some of the additional costs that are coming into that won't wrap in from the spent side will be looked to be used there. This is like pot line replacement, maybe. So that's like, hey, I have this elevator that was still sitting on our trunk. And when I say trunk, our copper line that also runs with our phone system, because all of that goes away, it all goes digital. And so there's several places, search and rescue being one, where alarm systems fall into that, where fire systems fall into that, where dialer systems have to take that up and you have to get on the public safety 4G, 5G, because that's the solution the industry's put forward for us. So wrapping in some of that and other miscellaneous costs as we roll into the project. So we'll take on the big one-time costs and the migration costs out of our spent side. This is kind of for that follow-out. Is the plan set there. Building your IT, your internet cost set. Again, you guys were generous enough to utilize ARPA funds. That is really just an incremental every year to make sure that we have funds allocated and ready to readopt those lines when the funding essentially runs out, that we're not left high and dry, trying to plan forward as always. Our Microsoft licensing stayed there. I asked for the same in terms of our network security so that we can continue project initiatives, again, securing and implementing more. We are always trying to play catch up. And I'll leave it at that. Is there any additional questions that I can outline for the commission today?
Case management, the 20,000 for the attorney's office. What is that, Adam?
I think that's a broad number. So I didn't put it there. That is essentially a case management system for your attorney's office. Your attorney's office has been running without case management in its entirety. They cannot sustain that workload. They need something, a digital asset to lift up the office, organize the office, provide some content management and direction to a lot of their case set. That is, I believe, a number thrown in to give us essentially a budgetary standpoint to give us a multi-year contract associated with the case management system. I've worked loosely with Kurt in the office to identify some of those. They've gone out and trying to get some interest here and there. But again, finding a government validated case management solution does come at a cost. And we always look at a multi-term cost so that we reduce those costs. Because it costs a lot there. Questions for me?
Yeah. And so I guess this is a budgeting question, maybe it's Tracy as much as anything. The software for the attorney or the software for the treasurer, it seems like it is, do we put it in the treasurer's office sometimes and not in the treasurer's office? And how do we make that determination?
So like, I'll use my Asset Keeper Pro that's on there,
Yeah.
$429, which, that's gonna go away also with
Right.
the ERP software, but all these things used to be in 1% and then they had the column and then there was a formula, and I don't remember how many times that formula got deleted and we had the wrong amount budgeted. Just going in and, you know, hurrying and things like that. That's why we made a IT fund where also makes it a place where Adam can isolate those multi-year things he's budgeting, but paying only once. And then put all the technology things in one place so we kind of have idea what all technology costs outside of like hardware.
Oh, yeah, instead of trying to hunt and find it.
Trying to better visibility, I think, was a great end goal. And then again, giving us a rotating budgetary standpoint to compensate on that. Not all of it's been adopted. Some of it follows the historical system. Some of it is new, and so it gets adopted into the newer place set. Really what will happen is ERP will take that, modify that, and give you that single visibility. And that will be a big press on my part.
Yeah, it's so my thought is, if I'm hearing you right, that ERP this might still be similar, but then it'll pull case management for the attorney's office into the cost association with the attorney's office. So we have an idea of what the attorney's office actually costs all the time.
We can.
Yeah.
So one of the things what we're doing with our chart of accounts is we can designate what's called character code. So I kind of alluded to it yesterday, like all things personnel will have that same account number they have now, but start with 50. That way we can pull reports easily, like all personnel starts with the character code 50, and then we can get those reports. We can do the very same thing with all IT expenditures where they can also be housed underneath the department. So Asset Keeper Pro can be under the treasurer. Well, it's going away, but as an example, it could be under the treasurer. So you can see what I'm spending my money on. But then it could also be, with that character code, a total IT or software report. I mean, we're going to have so much more versatility with our chart of accounts and this software. It's probably going to scare us all. How much info you'll be able to glean out of it.
Yeah.
So going forward, just so I understand that correctly, you're going to be looking for visibility from essentially a technology standpoint as to, Adam, what is our cloth cost for the umbrella suites, right? What every department uses and touches it. And then you're going to be looking for technology usage and utilization costs on a per department basis. Am I understanding that correctly?
Just have an understanding. Yeah. Because if you don't have this flow into the county attorney's office, it's not an expense that I'm gonna go and remember to go, I need to go into the IT budget in 1%, add that to the county attorney's budget. And that's really what it costs to run a county attorney's office. So that's why I'm really excited about the ERP approach.
Just making sure I understand what the commission's looking for going forward so that we can structure that. It's just a supplemental question outside of, it's tied to budget, but outside of what is scoped today. Technically, more than likely, we'll handle the management and the procurement, so on and so forth. It more just comes down to working with the attorneys to identify and allocate. It's an open project that we would love to see completed for this next fiscal year. That would be a huge bolstering to that department, of which that is losing some manpower, and as you've heard, has struggled to retain manpower. I hope I'm not speaking out of place for Kurt, but those are my feelings. So,
any other questions? Great, Adam, thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me know if you have any further questions. I appreciate your guys' time today.
You bet.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you, Adam.
That's it. All right. Tracy, Kayla, where would you like to head next with us?
Sorry, I just got here. I apologize. I had,
No, no
they're
worries.
converting the RIS system, the statewide title registration system, and there's issues with the data conversion. So I had to be on the call with all of those people. So I apologize.
No, no big
So I'm
deal.
gonna maybe let Tracy
You
take a
need
little bit of the lead here and then I can,
I guess maybe we'll just go to the totals worksheet
Okay.
where we kind of left off yesterday.
And are you on the GF 1% DA CRF tab? Is that where you're at?
yeah.
Okay.
Stuff. No. And then we have to do some clarifying on the salary stuff. and things. Can we look at the 1% worksheet too?
Oh, maybe we should go there
Yeah.
first, with the community partner ones.
Well, just in the
The
county
county
ones as
side.
well.
Oh,
We
gotcha,
didn't go through, I mean, we talked about them briefly, but we didn't go through.
Oh, I had that open. Silly me, I closed it.
And I don't have the Zoom link on, so if you can pull it up, Tracy, I'd appreciate it. So.
And anybody raise a hand when, or just go when you go to the bathroom. It's just, we can stop, right? You just stop right now. Take a break.
You wanna take a
I mean, we could
Yeah,
take a 5-minute
let's
break.
take a little bit of a
And then we
break,
can
yeah.
catch Kayla up.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's make it fun.
That might be helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You bet.
You can go ahead and mute yourself, please.
Okay.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
for your
bet.
time.
It's probably a little better video when there's somebody talking instead of just seeing us. So, who wants to roll down this one for us?
Well, I can talk a little bit. So you guys in the May 7th meeting talked about wayfinding and that you would like to allocate the 10,000. You want that to come out of 1%. Where would you like that to be? We paid it out of miscellaneous uncommitted the last time we did it, but we'll need to budget that in because it's not there. So,
Well, where's the best place to put it?
Yeah.
oh, I mean, we could, I would think it just a line in 1% would be fine. What are your thoughts, Tracy? I'm so sorry. I was fixing a formula. Oh, sorry. It's just for the wayfinding. It's for the
10,000.
the
for
city's
wayfinding.
project that they're doing with the signs.
I think the 1% is fine because I think that's kind of a community.
Yeah,
Right.
Do you want to come
Yeah,
out?
yeah,
Do we want to come out of the community?
Not,
Other one,
no, not
just the 1%,
They can,
right?
yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah, but I mean, 1% optional
Yeah.
because that's something that the community votes on, and I think
Correct.
that's
Yeah, I
giving
think
back to
that's
the
a good idea.
community.
Okay, we'll get that added.
Commissioners, do we want to stay at the 10,000? I know we put a place
that's-
marker on the 10,000. I'm trying to remember how many signs they said were county.
9?
9. I remember, and it was the 75.
That's somewhere in that, and that's why I figured about 1,000 a sign. Yeah. To contribute.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I'll put whatever you want in there.
Yeah, the city was asking for
Which,
150,000. I mean, it's. No,
A
it
lot.
didn't ask that much, but
Yeah.
Amanda's looking at me like, what?
Kayla, is that a new line in this spreadsheet?
It would be a new line, yes, because it
Okay.
came out of miscellaneous.
Oh, yeah, I'm in Wyoming. I was adding like a.
No, that's, do a save as, and then we'll save over the top of this when we're done.
Okay, so there's the new.
Okay. And that's, well, you didn't register though, did you? So you
I
can
did.
Share,
I did, but I'm not on. I can get on.
and you could share.
Okay.
You'd be more, your worksheet and more familiar with.
Do they want to add the 10? Is that what it was?
Yes.
And then was there anything else, Caleb, that we needed to talk
in
about?
This, I guess I have a question for you commissioners. Do you guys see any need for continuing ed for commissioners? Because usually you pay your continuing ed, registration fees. Now it's coming out of travel and mileage, which really is not what travel and mileage is used for. So I would like to add a line in 1% for commissioners continuing ed, and maybe you only do, I don't know how much. But it pays for, if you go to WCCA and there's fees associated for the meeting, other outside of your actual travel. I think
Right.
it should come out of
Yeah.
there.
Do we have other fees though?
There
outside
are
of
other
the-
fees.
Well, we don't know, but we need to have it there in case there
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Are you guys okay with
That's
that?
fine.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know, add 2,000 in there.
yeah, I'd say something
and
like that.
that's- you get that in there? I'll write it down. There you go. Commissioners. Okay, so continuing ed for commissioners, 2,000. Yeah, wherever you want to add it. Let's see. here.
It's like, it's been quite some time ago, but they had, a trainer come in and talk about,
Yeah.
this isn't, grandpa's marijuana. And I'll tell you, that was enlightening. It was excellent. And he had, I mean, it was several hours that he talked. It was really good.
Okay, so continue then. I'm trying to think anything else in 1%. So, our, okay, I'm just trying to see what comes out of here that I can update you guys on. I don't know if you have any questions on this spreadsheet, I guess let me know. We just add everything in as it comes. We can go through every single line if you want, or if you just have questions. Of course, you can see the library's asks in there. Airport is asking for the 20. Extension office, we didn't talk about them, but they are asking, so, you know, they've been asking for that flooring for some time now, and I think Amanda's finally gonna get it done. So they're asking for their flooring again for the extension office. And there's something else.
We did some flooring somewhere, but it must not have been extension, right?
No,
We didn't.
oh no,
my
we've
God.
allocated money for the last like 7 years and they've never done it.
Right,
and-
okay.
Now with the
Double
changing,
price.
now with the changing of, you know, it was Brian that requested it or Mary Louise and they never did anything. And I guess I have not been in there lately. I don't know.
Well, so I'm in there all the time, so I would
It's
be
there.
curious about what they think they need to do with the
I think
floor.
it's the carpet is.
Yeah,
old.
the
It's
Oh,
bad.
okay. Okay.
entrance,
Yeah,
where
from
it's
my
folding up
understanding.
and-
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of like
No.
flooring in the
Linoleum.
meeting room.
No,
I was going,
uh-uh.
that seems fine. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No.
I trip every time I go
Do
in
ya?
the main entryway.
I don't know
because
how
the
I'm not
carpet is
tripping,
so
but-
worn and pulled up that, yeah, my big toes decide to grab it and squeal.
It's probably been there for so long, I just know it's the automatic, you step over it.
I think that I tried.
So it's probably just carpeting in that.
It's the carpeting in the
main
office and it's in there already in the 1%. But just to let you know, Amanda wanted to let you guys know, because she is out on maternity leave, so that they are requesting.
So if you're gonna change that, you might as well change it in all the offices right there.
Yeah, I think there's
First
two
two.
in the extension office there. in
Yeah.
that front part. Let's see here. Carpet is quite worn and stained. So we're asking 65. And that's what it says here.
I'm sure Amanda doesn't wanna be carrying your new baby in
Well,
there.
I
and
think
throw-
we added in something, tile maintenance and extension for 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why. So we added the tile maintenance in the.
There it is. Okay, I gotcha.
We just added it into one, so they're asking for to strip the floors and the hallways. Yeah. Now it's 1% here. Everything else looks pretty standard across the board. I am asking just to carry over what's left in my clerk archiving for my ARCA search because we haven't paid out, so it's just the remaining amount on that.
Is that project done?
It's not done yet. They should be done in about, they had to push it back. They'll be done in, I think you have the door thing to go through June 14th or something like that.
That is
So,
what they asked for, correct?
yeah, so hopefully by mid-June they'll be done.
Okay, cool.
So then we'll pay out when it's done. So that's the reason why that money is being carried over. But
Is this where you wanted to, if they want to allocate the extra funds to May? What extra? She's asking for all these extra. Is that, or are we making a new?
well, I guess that's a question.
Yeah.
So EMA is asking for extra funds and I assume I talked about it when she talked about it.
No, if they
Where we want it to be paid
where
from.
it will go. Cause it's not.
Okay, where would you, is this a logical place, Amanda, for it to be, or?
I don't know, it depends on if we're gonna make a
Well, because you have to look at
general
her,
fund
yeah.
for her, or if you want it all to go through 1%, she is asking for that
Part-time to
employee to
full-time
be moved elsewhere.
Yeah. And so from an ease of budgeting standpoint, is it better in the general fund, I'm guessing? And then just have it, what makes it easier? Because we're transitioning. And so
Yeah.
trying to figure that out would be great. Then we'll probably just take your advice.
I would think, I guess I'm leaning towards the general fund.
That's where I
because,
think
I
it
mean,
should
if it was
come
just
from.
pulled out of the sheriff's prior and it was in his general fund, it makes sense just to keep it general fund.
Yeah.
I agree.
So then you want to add the rest of the supplies and maintenance things into,
Well, it's general.
Okay.
I mean, it's to run your general everyday operations. I think it should come out of the general fund personally.
It is a statutory position.
It is.
so I think you'll create a new
I think we're gonna need to create a new
department.
department
Okay.
for
And then-
EMA.
Do you want to add all of those in there?
So can
and
you
then
read
new
off
ones.
what they're?
So it'll be the office supplies, vehicle maintenance, training and exercises, public outreach and radio maintenance. Cause we have siren maintenance, we can do supplies and support, like we can, I don't,
That's already in.
yeah, there's like,
The top part of that worksheet's already in 1%,
Yes.
correct? And then
Yes,
it's
it
just the
is,
bottom
but
that we're.
if we're creating a new
Department.
which should be in 1% and which shouldn't.
Well, I think your general operations should come out of.
So then with this one, move down. Command can stay, with the generator maintenance and siren maintenance
Could come
could
together.
stay.
Yeah, and could
They
stay.
could stay there.
Yep.
So just the supplies move down,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna add that much plus that to the general fund.
Yes. And then we also need to talk, well, I guess, I don't know if you guys, well, that's good right there. We'll leave
Okay.
that at that. So we'll make a new department for that.
I'll work.
Okay. And then.
There's some trumpet blast or something that we make. New department, isn't there? There's a coordination, something. Yeah.
Which I was about.
Welcome to the general fund.
It's not that exciting.
It's really not that exciting.
I'm kind of a number nerd, so I'm excited.
And then other questions here on the 1%?
I don't have any more on the 1%. Do you have any more on the 1%, Tracy?
I don't think so. I think it's just our normalness.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Do you need us to say yay or nay to all the library asks or?
I think you do.
Yeah.
You need to decide if you want to give that full amount or not. That's your guys' choice. So if you can see on the spreadsheet, the total ask is $104,060.
Okay.
And then the fair board is asking for 20,000, it looks like.
Okay.
And I think there's just to offset their grounds and operations, but.
Okay. So I guess.
And we are doing this with 1% on a reimbursement basis. So they have to, either we can pay the vendor directly or they are getting reimbursed. We're not cutting a check for 104,000 and letting them spend it as they see fit. They have to ask for reimbursement. So we did that last year and it worked out quite good, actually.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just go down, commissioners, and it's library supplemental funding for operations, and it says IT service for 28 grand. Anybody have a problem with that?
Don't worry, if I have a problem, I'll speak.
Okay, super. So I'm just thinking out loud here a little bit, Adam. Do you provide IT services to them at all?
Not at this time.
Okay.
No, there isn't an MOU. They contract with a third party to provide their current IT support.
Okay. Do they have any connection to your supported network at all?
No.
Okay.
They retain their own internet connection. They are isolated to their own island over yonder. So it's their own equipment, it's their own network. I believe that distinction was made I would assume going back probably MBT during that transition. IT here at the county used to support it. We had infrastructure prior that provided services and phones and so on and so forth. And that dissolved with the MBT migration and that switch up, and that's where it stands as of current.
And are they the only island on our IT world?
That would be Adam's question. Right, sure. May I approach?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm getting at. Right? If
Stay back there in that chair.
You get back where you go.
if we could get them all under one house, maybe we could hire another IT person, and we'd all save money, in the long run. Now, maybe that's not interesting to you at all, but, tell me why that's not an interesting idea.
I won't say it's not interesting. I will, of course. Yes, I would love another individual. It's counties, I don't know, it's been interesting here. When you look at a county aspect, a lot of the other county ITs do support, there's other branch sets. If you're looking at the library, if you're looking at Weed and Pest, if you're looking at the fairgrounds, all of those sort of things, right? They can normally carry an MOU of some form as an NAT. If it kind of carries Albany County in the name. Prior, we hadn't take on, or I haven't been approached for that outside of the airport when there was that initial transition. We didn't have the bandwidth to be able to take on all the technical debt that was out there. I don't know the current status as to the technical debt. I do know that the contractors is good and fairly competent associated with the work that they do. We work closely together. I enjoy working with Tim, and they seem to be happy with some of those service sets, but I won't say it's out of question by any degree. If you're looking for that initiative, we will start investigating that initiative to see if there's a comparable reason as to pulling it back in-house.
Yeah, if there's a reason not to go down this path, you would have told us, I guess. And then it may not work and they may not be interested, but it would seem that if one person was overseeing all the security, all the infrastructure, that it might make sense, right? It might get better, they might get better service, and we might get another person to help out on occasion.
Correct. Yep. If you're gonna timeline that and you want to look at that investigation, I would look probably starting 25. So I'd approve this, let it run the year, allow us the time to open that investigation, to have those cordial communications, and to see if it's of interest. I don't know. So this is a new realm for me. I can't tell you whether, do we get to force X, Y, and Z? It would just start as a represented general conversation of, would this be of interest to your organization? What do you currently have? Kind of perform that asset audit and then report back to you as to the findings and let you make a strategic decision there.
Board.
Yeah, and it is an Albany County entity, and but it doesn't, nobody wants.
Let me get through election first.
Yeah. And I'm not asserting to do it this year. I'm just saying out loud this year, does it make sense? Is there 30,000 here, 30,000 there, 40,000 here, 40,000 here, and then all of a sudden you should just have another employee and then everything's standard, which makes so much more sense. So
there will be some wrap costs, right? When you look at on a per user basis in terms of the licensing that'll increase on our general base, and then migration or transitionary cost on those adoptions. But again, all of that can be outlined for you, kind of post conversation and investigation. So I hear you, and I do agree with that. And we will look to kind of have that maybe early 2025 as an initiative.
Super. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So then I guess that answers that one for the operations IT, firewall, antivirus, the consortium fees, I guess, the copy printer maintenance, anything in the library that is disconcerting to anybody from what Rachel presented.
No.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. And do you have an issue with the Fair Board's $20,000 ask at all?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Jennifer, I know you're on. Do you have any idea what the elevator contract is going to be?
It is going to be just under $11,000, I think. 10,776.50. And that's if we pay it for an entire year, because that gets us like a 4% discount.
What did you?
So,
$10,776.50.
It's amazing what 1 0 does.
$776.
yep, 50.
So do 10,775 or 777. Okay. Look at that. Saved a little cash there.
And you do have the EMS agreement with the city, again, at the 275,000.
Yeah, I saw that in
It's in
somebody's
direct
budget.
aid. It's in direct aid. It's at the bottom there, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
275. Is that calculated in this worksheet as well? Because I have it directly on the direct aid. I don't know how you guys have your formulas. I don't do the formulas. I would screw them
I
up.
started doing that, but then I can't remember if someone was in there.
We'll check that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tracy. We'll check to make sure it's not.
The formula on 95 says it is in there.
Okay, I think I did get them. It's in there.
So the EMS contract is in that total as well.
Yes.
So we have it in two places right now then. We probably need to take it out.
No,
Yes, it's on the direct aid total worksheet.
sorry,
Oh,
they're supposed to be right here. So it won't. There you go.
I mean, do you want me to take out the totals worksheet?
No, it's good.
Leave it there. Yeah, leave it there. Okay. It's moved off
It's
of
in
there.
the orange.
Okay.
That's, sorry, I had it in the wrong column. The orange is
Nope.
supposed to be direct
Direct
aid in
aid.
the,
Are any of those that are supposed to be in direct aid that are on the green column?
I don't think so. It's just down here in the yellow.
And we'll go through all of our spreadsheets to make sure it's really just a matter of you guys telling us direction as to where we need to go.
Okay.
Um,
And then I guess for the vacation accrual, does any of the board, does that change since the new handbook's in place? Is this a payout for vacation accrual?
this is where we would pay that out. If you don't have it in your
In your
budget, it comes out of there. Most people have it in their budgets to pay those out.
But if you're, not all budgets, so if, like if we
Grant
have
funded.
like, yeah, grant funded, they don't always pay out. And then if you're a smaller department that has all 3 positions full, say, and there's no gap in like someone leaving and someone coming, they wouldn't be able to cover the vacation payout.
So it would come out of there.
Okay.
I think we're probably good at 30,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every year in our audit, we have it reflected what the uncompensated absences is. If every employee walked out and paid out, we have to, it's wise to be covered.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully nobody gets that idea everybody should walk out. But
Well, it'd be more than one.
Yeah, yeah,
it's in grant.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any other questions on this one?
If you guys don't have any other questions,
I don't.
okay, so I guess we need 1%. We don't know about that. I don't know if any other, I didn't bring this up during my individual budget, but I don't know if any other departments have questions on this. I like to recognize my employees for Administrative Professionals Day, but I don't have a line item to do that. Is what I like to do is buy them breakfast. I can pay that out of my pocket, but it is nice to be able to do that. And I don't know if any other department heads or elected officials would like a line in their individual budget for employee recognition. I mean, I'm talking like $500, nothing huge. I don't know if you would do it on maybe however many employees you have or how you want to do it, but it's the one thing that I recognize my employees for specifically in my office. I don't know, I can't speak to other offices, but
And this is beyond what HR does.
Because HR does not do for administrative professionals. That's the one thing I do. I think Tracy does it for her
I
office.
think they hit, like employee appreciation day, and then we
Yeah.
use that for the longevity awards. What else does?
Pay out of there, but I don't know if any other departments have. I do though. So I mean, I think.
Our office would like to be able to recognize our volunteers. Since they work for
Yeah.
$0.
And I don't know how we figure a dollar amount.
You
I
could
guess-
do like a per diem, you could go off what the federal per diem is, like if you did wanna do like breakfast or something,
Mhm.
you could go off that rate.
What's the rate?
Why don't you just pick?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Pick an amount per
Yeah,
position.
yeah, exactly, the amount
Yeah,
per
that's-
position, and,
Would you want to house it all in like HR and then people could draw from that for different? or
I'd
is
like
that-
it out of my own budget.
Yeah, I think it
Okay.
should be out of each individual budget,
Then Anissa doesn't have to manage.
Man, I don't wanna have to have her
Other
manage it.
people ask.
Okay.
especially
her
this
for
year.
money.
Yeah, I mean, I would,
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking of Amanda, not Lisa.
And I can reach out to all the, or we can just figure an amount. And put it in everybody's budget if they would like that. We could do it off of how many employees they have.
so the GSA rate, breakfast is $13, lunch is $15. You want one of those. Dinner's 26, but nobody wants
Yeah,
to.
nobody's
go. Oh, that's just a number to go off of. I'll have to-
You want us to come up with a number and shoot it back to you guys? I don't know.
I think it should be at least 15 because you can hardly,
Like 15 per employee and we just work it into,
Yeah,
yeah, because you can hardly get bacon and eggs for,
yeah, I was gonna say, I think when I did breakfast for my office, it was, I don't know, 300. Was that what it
I
was?
think it was.
I mean, and that was for however many people have in the office, 15. So,
would this cause you dramatic problems with this budget since nobody's anticipated this? And then you'd have to get everybody on board or not?
You think you're handing them more money? I don't see why somebody.
I
mean, there could be.
I think people do what they want with their budgets anyway. It's the one thing, we had a Christmas party for my office. I paid for all of the food myself. I didn't feel like it should come out of the county because of the fact that we already have a county sponsored one. So we did one for my office specifically and I paid for it. But this is the one thing that I pay for out of my budget is employee recognition in terms of just administrative professionals. But what other people do in their budget, I guess, until we have some kind of purchasing policies,
Which are coming.
people can do with what they want, but I don't know.
You know, it's 150 people employed at the county. $20, that's about $3,000. There's a
Just,
place
if
to
you want us
start.
to average it $20.
I think that's
per
good. I think that's,
Okay, and we can work it.
And if people want to put it in their budget, great. And if they don't want to put it in their budget, that's great. too.
I'll reach out and ask who would like it in their budget. And then we'll just go from
See how
there
much.
and see what that'll look like.
So,
Okay, let's see then. So what I guess Amanda said we need to talk about the retirement, to clarify with the law enforcement increase. So we can figure out in the budget how we need to do that. I wasn't here for that discussion, so
Right.
It'd be better to start with salary increases
Maybe do
because
that
that could
first.
change that calculation.
perfect.
I
Okay,
just also wanted to clarify the retirement increase in his narrative, and then when he said, it says 0.09, it is 0.9% on both employee and employer, so a total of 1.8% increase for the next 3 years. So 1.8 this year, 1.8 the next, 1.8, okay.
Okay, I did not understand it. Thank you, because I
just
was
wanted to
like,
make
how
sure
do
that
we
was
get,
clear.
how do we
He
get to
said for
that?
the next 2 years.
Yeah,
It
but
would
he
be
had
point-
I said
the
0.9.
wrong
0.8.
numbers in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if my guess is correct, and they wanted us to pick the 1.8 up, both the employee and the employer amount up and the
That's
sheriff's
what he
budget.
was requesting, yes.
Yeah, awesome. And Rebecca's here, for the retirement, you guys were requesting that we pick up both the employee and the employer piece of the retirement. Okay. So that would be, so then that would make our 1.8 would bring us to 15.27.
Yeah.
For their, and the regular county employee would be 15.1 still.
So the public employees would be 15.19, and then the law enforcement would be 15.27.
Okay. All right, thank you for that, because I was, confused.
No
All
worries.
right.
Okay, so I think we need to talk about the positions first. So EMA is asking for their part-time to go to full-time, correct?
Yeah.
So that amount is what?
So if we take out what the sheriff is contributing, hold on.
What will that be to the general fund in terms of her budget?
Yes. Right here.
Just to clarify on that position, we would like to have the option to keep it part-time or go full-time depending on who's in the position. Does that make sense?
Does,
We'd have to budget for full-time then?
and then if we do part-time, is there an hourly that we offer insurance to them, or is it above 20 hours that we offer insurance, or
Yeah, above 30.
above 30?
Plus.
Okay, and is 30 considered part-time with us?
It's considered full.
Full?
Okay, yeah, it's like just a lower, but benefit wise, it's considered full time.
Okay, super.
So it'll raise it to budget at full time, it'll raise it about 22,000.
So is that full-time at 30 or is that at 40?
That's at 40.
Okay.
And is that benefits included, or is that another 37% or whatever in addition?
So, right now, what's budgeted for the part-time position is around 34,000. If you bumped it to the full-time with adding retirement in, it would increase it almost right under 22,000, and that does not include the insurance costs.
Okay, so the hit to the general fund would be 22 grand from what's already in
What's
there.
already in there?
Plus whatever insurance.
Plus
is.
insurance.
Yeah.
So I guess another 7, so put it at 30 probably.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I guess you
Chose
just need to
insurance, yeah.
decide if you would like to yay or nay upping that, and then we can.
commissioners?
I'd up it.
Yep.
Okay, then I think the next one is the assessor asked for a new position and then to change Karen's job title, which would also come with a pay raise.
And that, the original position is in the general fund already, is that correct?
Are you talking about Karen's position?
No, the one that she talked about, the new position, is it already
It
in the
will,
spreadsheet?
it is right now, yes.
Okay, and so then so we'd have to just approve the position because the money's already in there. And then the upping Karen's would do what to the general fund?
It's in there as well, currently.
It's in there as well. So there would be nothing to the fund. It would just be,
What's already looking like on her spreadsheet.
right.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah, it's
asking? Yes,
above
that's
and
what I'm
beyond what her current budget is, but it's in the current.
So it's not on her current budget right now, is what they're asking.
Yes,
But
it's
it's
not
good.
on her
Yeah,
current.
that
budget.
makes sense. That's good.
It's not.
Okay, but it is in this, I'm looking at GF
It-
1%
it's in the
DA.
future, yes.
Yeah, okay, it's in that spreadsheet. Super.
Amanda,
Commissioners?
is that included on the totals worksheet?
That one is.
That one is, okay.
Cause it was,
That was the exception.
yes.
Okay.
Are we looking at,
Because it was,
also everything else, the 1,200 and the 240? That, Chelsea asked for?
It's already built in, I believe. Let me open up her spreadsheet here. That's what you're asking. I don't have it open.
Yeah, so out of the whole, the general fund, the total would be 47,405.
So if you're looking at her.
that's flat, that's without the
Yes,
extra
so
person.
the green, the department request has all of her requests in it.
Okay.
So her budget would go from 594 to 641. Correct me if I'm wrong. And all the rest is out of 1%, so at the bottom there.
So I don't see that in this. Now, the last update I have is 1034 for today. On the totals that I have for the assessor's office. 595, 159. Is that not an accurate number?
No, you should, that's the flat amount, yeah, sorry, well, maybe it's not in the totals.
Can you add up, Tracy?
Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah, which one should I be looking at? I'm sorry.
Those are not in there right now.
For sure, we're all.
I was gonna say, we all have to be looking at the same thing.
Awesome. Okay, that'd be
So
great.
641, 837 is what she is requesting total for her expenditures. If you approve the new the new position as well as any of the increases that she's asking for.
So it increased by, just under 47,000 total.
Today?
Sorry, I forgot.
Okay, so that'd be 47,000 in addition to this.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioners?
Yeah, she needs a new person. She's needed it for a long time.
Okay. And then Karen's salary as well and her job title. Okay with that? Okay. So that's
So that'll
updated.
update there. Okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Okay.
So we're gonna give the assessor, just to make sure I understand it, we're gonna give them the amount of money to do that. Now, we can't compel them. We can't compel Chelsea to do that, right? She could give them all to somebody else. What is the
No, I think
follow-up?
that you're allowing her to add a position is what you're allowing her
Okay.
to do. So that money needs to go to a new position,
Okay,
in my opinion, but then again. But then again.
right,
Right.
Once you put it out there, it's,
right. And so I just wanna make sure that, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what this money's for.
you guys are the ones that approve
Yeah,
the salary.
Well, it'd be,
increases,
we approve it. If she doesn't do it, then it doesn't get approved the next time.
Right.
The next
Yeah.
year, so.
that would be a really useful thing, not to add anything more, is to your plate, but it would be really nice to say, we did these things in last year, and these things were done, or they weren't done.
Aren't done. We can actually
You know,
give you at budget next year, we can do that for you.
Yeah.
We can say, this is what was allocated extra.
Yeah.
This is what was actually done with
Yeah.
those funds.
And not that I'm suspicious at all, I'm not, I just want to,
It's public
Follow
funds.
it,
You have
yeah.
every right to ask.
yeah, I just want to follow up with what we've done and to make sure that it's done and then mark it off the schedule. Okay, super. Next one.
It's pretty easy because we'll notice an extra person in her.
Yeah.
office.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't maybe notice that Karen had a different title. I don't know that I would, or she had a raise
Yeah.
associated with it.
Yeah, but you would notice the extra.
Extra
Person,
person, but
yeah.
yeah, no, but that's definitely something that we can do. That's not a heavy ask.
Yeah. And what were the two things, what were the two different amounts? So it'd be for the extra person, it's,
With what she had in there, it'll be the extra person's, 36,155 for salary, and then plus the associated benefits
and then Karen's
was 1,200.
$1,200.
Or, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong, that's for both of those.
That's in that amount there, that 36,000.
Okay, and then the associated benefits on top of that.
Correct.
Okay, okay. Next one.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to change the column reference?
Yes.
I think those
You
were
wanna
the
change it
two,
to,
those were the only
G.
two
Instead of
asks
adding
on
to-
employees,
or
correct?
22.
Those were the only two asks on employees, right? Okay, so then I guess we need to talk about what's gonna happen with any kind of raises. From my understanding, the sheriff asked for a 6% increase in all of his people. And then what that looks like for the rest of the county as well.
Yeah, so one of my major goals is to not have income disparity happen between departments. So if 6% comes to the sheriff, then it has to be contemplated by the commission, this commissioner for everybody. Because I'm not gonna do that. But I think that seems a bit high. I don't know what 6% across the board would look like. It would be a lot.
Before you make a decision on sheriff
Yeah.
raises, do you mind if I make a statement, whether that be now or later?
Sure, go on ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah?
Sure.
Commissioners, I'm here today to discuss the raise increase for our office. I know that at first glance, seeing a 10% raise or any other of the other raise amounts for that matter seems like an exorbitant request. However, as I speak to 3 intelligent and rational humans, I ask that you seriously consider this raise request. In 2023 to present, we have lost approximately 5 good deputies to other agencies. I know that you may ask, why are they leaving? What could possibly be going wrong internally? I won't say that there is solely one cause for people to leave. However, I would argue that pay differential is a huge reason. Will we ever be able to offer what Teton County gives to their deputies? No. But I am asking you to make us competitive with the Laramie Police Department, University of Wyoming Police Department, Laramie County Sheriff's Office, and even the Wyoming Highway Patrol. These are our sister agencies, and they are ready to steal our deputies at the first sign of distress. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that when the Laramie Police Department put out their new salary scale, there was extreme heartache in our office over why is the city fighting for their people and the county is not. Deputies are human, but are not treated as such. They see unimaginable things in this line of work, and they are expected to move on after the incident is over. Yes, we have briefings and counseling available, but I don't think seeing a dead child or an infant is an image that a normal being, even a deputy, can unsee. Deputies respond to a variety of calls, but some of the most recent include a homicide suspect in Buttevue, a violent felon running through Laramie, and a fatality crash including an infant that deputies performed CPR on, and the infant nor the parents made it. Not only do they respond to a vast variety of calls, but 2 of our deputies were assaulted in the last month. One deputy was taken to the ER because rocks were thrown at him and hit him in the face, while another deputy was hit repeatedly in the face when trying to get the suspect off of a Laramie Police Department officer. Deputies in the detention center have had to administer Narcan to individual possibly ODing and have had to deal with inmates spreading all kinds of bodily fluids all over the walls of the detention center and flooding the cells. I do not tell you this to gain sympathy. I am relaying this information for you to understand that the day-to-day for deputies is much different than a normal 8-to-5 occupation. In this climate, when no one wants to be a law enforcement officer, it has made recruiting quite the task. And with that, we have been understaffed for some time. I appreciate that you have to consider the county as a whole and not solely focus your energy and resources on one department. But I do ask that you take into consideration the gravity of the tasks that deputies take on. I ask that you look at the amount of people we have lost and understand that if we invest more money into keeping deputies, we could save money just on onboarding alone. These raises would also help retain the current staff that we have. We want to keep these valuable deputies because they have experience, and experience in this line of work is priceless. So commissioners, I'm humbly asking you to please consider these raises for the deputies of the Albany County Sheriff's Office for the good work they do, and I know will continue to do for this community. Any questions?
I got a lot, I gotta tell you. Fighting for the deputies is something this commission has done for years.
Absolutely.
We have raised and raised and raised, and I take that offense to that. And I'm not sure if it was your statement or not.
No, this was mine. And it wasn't in that. It was, can I give you some backstory to this?
Okay.
When the police department came out with theirs, which I know we can never, it's the city, right? They get a lot of tax money as well as we do. But they did hang up the raise, the salary, and then our salaries next to each other. And so we have told them in our command staff meetings that we have every first of the month that we have advocated and you have brought attention to that. And that you have given them raises every year. We've explained that, we've told them that, we've gracious for that. And I don't mean to offend you in any capacity. I am just trying to relay the gravity of what they're doing in the climate that we're in currently, and just trying to bump them up more for the challenges that they face every day. And I'm not saying that no one else, I mean, I'm not a sworn deputy, I'm not advocating for myself. I'm advocating for the sworn deputies, and I'm not saying that's not to a discredit to Tracy's office, to Kayla's office, to Chelsea's office. That's not a discredit to them by any means, and that I think everyone should get raises. That's always the hope, but I'm just advocating for our deputies. And I apologize if I did offend you in any way.
Well, we are responsible for the sheriff's department's salaries, but also everybody else.
Absolutely.
And respond to me how you would see it if sheriff deputies got 6% and your department somewhere else got 1%. What do you think? Does that build morale between county employees? What would your response be to that?
Well, my response, unfortunately, would be, I am in that boat. I'm a county employee. I know the sheriff said 6% across the board, but I don't think that he meant that because that's not how it was presented in our original budget. Non-sworn were less than that. And so maybe he had changed his mind, I'm not sure. But there is a disparity in our office regardless already that non-sworn have gotten less.
And I don't mean that you guys don't, that all the people that work in the sheriff's office don't do amazing work.
Absolutely.
I do. I totally get it. There are some things we can handle and some things we can't, right? So we can't fix the juvenile justice or the justice system in America, right? We incarcerate way more people than the next most, so we need more deputies. So we can't fix that. We can do what we can do.
Absolutely.
And I have a real problem, Rebecca, and I would more than happy to come talk to the deputies to make income disparity between departments. Then what do the other departments say? You don't fight for us, you fight for the sheriff's department. Now, do we have enough to do 6% across the board? I doubt it. I really doubt it, but these good people will tell me. And that's just my perspective about it. And it doesn't belittle what I think of the sheriff's office. I know you feel strongly, and I would it be if I were you too. I got a duty here,
Absolutely.
Not just to the sheriff's office. And I really don't. I hate the different salary schedules. I'll just say it out loud for this 7th year in a row, because I hate it, because it does pit groups against each other, and it makes this job really difficult to be equitable. But that's my job, is to be equitable. So my decision today, as it stands, is if we're going to do something for the sheriff's office, we're going to do it for the rest of the county, and it's not going to be one rate to one side and a different rate to the other side. I just don't believe that. Now there's 2 other people here, and they'll be more than, they'll vote however they want to vote. And I see your quandary, but we don't get the city money. We get tax dollars, but we don't get the city amount of dollars. And that's just the way it is. So that said.
It would be a disservice to my office if I didn't advocate for the deputies.
Yep. And I appreciate you
And
doing
you
it.
did a good job. You did an excellent job.
Yeah. So any questions for Rebecca, Sue, or Terry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, sorry if I did offend you, Pete.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But
Well, go ahead. You did a really good job.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there a place I can go to see what 6% across the board would be?
If you did 6% across the board to add to every budget.
Yeah.
It would be $538,910.71.
well, didn't you have that up for right?
Well, I have a.
I think there's something else we need to think about. Is that it's my understanding that the wages out in the public have actually gone down. Like about 2%.
In the public sector.
In the private sector.
Yeah.
And there's a problem when there's a discrepancy like this.
Well, I'm not sure where those statistics are. I've hired 5 people in the last year, and I have not seen 2% less. I've seen 5 to 10% more for the salaries too.
No, that's across the board. I think it's really something to think about.
And you said 538, 908,
9/11.
911.
Around 29 cents.
Okay. And so I guess this is why we get the big pay, y'all. What are you thinking? So 0 is 0, 6% is 538. And it seems like 3% would be half of that, 260,
269, 455.
270. And Tracy, with what you're showing us right now, where are we at with no raises with regard to the budget?
So as it stands right now, I did update the formula in here that includes what you approved for the assessor's office.
Does that include the EMA too?
No, because I don't have,
If you put, like right in the detention in sheriff, if we just use that blue or that yellow line.
The detention
Right
in
there.
sheriff.
okay.
Yeah, so over in the proposed, if you put 83,034.
That'll at least get you a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am going to change that name right now though, so we don't.
Yeah,
So I
just so
don't
we
get
know.
confused.
No, you're good. Well, that's good. Thank you.
Like, why are we only doing that? Anyway, so we have, with the estimated cash on hand, we have the ability to do the 6% across the board. We would have money left over in the other funds to still put away into reserves, for things.
Let's sustain that though too.
Yeah, is it sustainable? If we lose property tax,
Yeah.
coming next property tax season, like Kelsey was saying, she's expecting 1,000 to 1,200 applications for the 50% off if you're 65 and older and pay property taxes for 25 years. So that's going to be a hit.
I don't think we should look at that high. And I also think we need to, here I am being the elected official that I'm gonna put it out there, but every year the department heads are getting higher and higher and higher. And as elected officials, our salaries are set every 4 years. And so I think that's something to think about as well. They were back in the day, and I know it's back in the day, they were a lot closer. I know that they're different right now, but I think it's definitely something to look at as well.
So elected salaries going in the next, is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is that we used to look at department heads on a level.
It used to be the same as elected officials, like I wasn't an elected official then.
I wasn't either.
If the elected official got raises, the department heads got raises, but they never went past each other. And I know
And now
now
they're
they're past that,
different.
which is fine, but
And now they're completely different after the elected officials' salaries went up. I think all the department heads now are very different. Sometimes I think we have to look at what the job is, not just because they're a department head. What is their job too, and where are they at? We give our employees by merit or other things. I just think it's something I'm just putting it out there because you guys are the department head's boss.
Right, and unfortunately, that can only be changed every 4 years for the elected officials, which will be this January.
No.
it was not until the 2026
Not
election, which would
2026,
go
it's
into
every
effect
election
27.
cycle when they're reelected is when it gets changed. Yeah.
So
And I'm not complaining about my salary or
Right.
I'm speaking solely it's just put out there because of the fact that they are on a higher level. I understand that they are at a managerial position. It is totally different, but it's just something to think about, that we just give the money without any kind of, are there evaluations? Are there anything? Do we just say, oh, you get 6%? And then when you do a percentage, of course, the people that make more will continue to make more. And the people that are on the lower level, your $40,000 employees, of course, are making,
It's inequitable.
It's
what it is.
It is. The percentage is inequitable anyway, because whoever makes more is gonna get more. So I don't know. if you
And
look
who's
at it-
making more doesn't need it as much as the lower end.
And I'm not trying to say what people's income levels are, what their bills are. I'm not here to say that. I got enough of my own stuff going on, but I just think that we need to look at, maybe it's a better way to look at it when you say across the board, instead of saying 5%, you're gonna give this amount to each department, and maybe it goes to the department head, maybe it doesn't, you know, that I don't know. I think that's a conversation that you guys as commissioners maybe need to have, because the department heads are your employees. Our employees are our employees. You know, my employees in my office are my employees. I'm an elected official. I get to decide what their salaries are. You guys as elected officials get to decide what the department heads, what their salaries are. So I don't know if I just threw a wrench in the hole.
No.
Kinda, yeah, but it's a good wrench. I mean, it's something to consider.
And I mean, this conversation has happened many times in the past.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair. So,
Just another direction for you to look at, if you're looking at a more consumable middle ground position based on what's already presented to you. I just did a quick search from my end. I was looking to see what SHRM put out for their general US employment increase number set based on, you know, inflation, cost of living and stuff. And they were looking somewhere in the ballpark of 3.8 to 4.1 between merit-based or total salary set. So, you know, maybe the 3 may even look a little low, just at looking at the 24 numbers and the economy set. You may even be looking kind of in a middle ground position if that's consumable to you. Just to add, I know it wasn't requested. I just wanted to bring it forward.
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So as it ends up being anyway, right, if we were to give 3% and there's 15 employees in Kayla's office, we're gonna give you that money
And I can allocate.
and you can allocate it. And so the only difference is the department heads, right? So we can say, yeah, here's the money to the department heads allocated. Whereas the elected officials are frozen at 92.5, department heads are not. And we did make adjustments not 2 years ago, I believe, with department heads and elected officials.
Well,
So-
everybody got a raise last year.
Yeah,
The two, I think it was 2% last year. It was 2.
Yeah.
Across the board.
and so, I don't know, I guess $500,000 seems high, but that is the number, for 6% across the board, minimum number, so I'm guessing that's not including retirement. And so that will be another 2% on that.
Just for one office, because it only affects the
Here's what he's asking, is the 500,000, does that have?
Does that have the retirement
Everything,
included?
Yeah,
That's
everything.
That's everything, okay.
Aside if I switch,
But not the increase in retirement for the sheriff's office, right?
so if I do that.
That would be 60 grand, essentially is what my number says if it was 6%.
Yeah, I'd take it up just under 600. That's what I bet you buy it.
Commissioners, any ideas?
Well, as Tracy pointed out, I don't think that can be sustained.
Yeah.
At 6%.
That's my worry, is the sustainability of it, because I don't want to raise people up and then have to let people go. I would rather my people not make less and have their job than something to happen and you give a big raise and then we can't sustain it. 'Cause it's
And-
much easier to give it than it is to take it away.
My problem is I laid off 13 people when I was a brand new commissioner. And I'm the one that laid everybody off. I would talk to each one of them. I have no intention of doing that again.
Agreed.
And the hit that those employees took that we laid off was devastating.
I agree, Terry.
And when you have grown men that cry and their wives call you and cry, it was awful.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to, if we can't conceive in completely sustaining it, we don't want to go there.
Well, and I think maybe, you know, and I think Tracy brings up a good point with the property. Maybe we need to see how it plays out, you know, do a less of a raise this year and see how it does play out with our budget. And then maybe look at next year, or, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's very concerning.
It is.
And if you want to make people mad, take away money you've given.
I would rather not take away from my people. I know that everybody wants a raise and I know everybody is deserving of it. And the cost of living is not going down. I get that, but we also have to look at the responsibility of the taxpayer dollar and what that looks like. If they go the route where they were talking about doing the sales tax replacement for property tax, and I know I've expressed my skepticism about that backfill, how long that's gonna last, because food tax backfill lasted about a year and a half, roughly. That's also a backfill. That's not front loading us. So we have to take all of our reserves to fund our whole general fund. That would be almost all of our reserves. We'll get it back, but it's a cash flow nightmare. Yeah. And as the office that manages the cash flow, I'm glad we're gonna get new software to help with that, but not only is that out there, and Jerry, you were on Cowboy State Daily in the picture, turning in all those signatures with the Secretary of State's office. So, I mean, we got that to consider, as that could be on the ballot in 26. That could.
Yep.
And all of these things, I mean, I'm a consumer. I don't want to pay property tax either, but my job hat says, if I want the roads, if I want the sheriff's office to show up at my house, which they have before, and save my kid. Yeah, I'll have property tax.
Yeah, I think it's a bargain, my property tax. I don't have any kids in school. It's a bargain, right? And I would pay double it because of the services I get, right? And I'm tired of hearing about the property taxes and being too high and unfunded, and some people on a fixed income, and we should do that, which is what we've tried to do here. But good Lord, right? $390 or whatever it is.
Well, I wish mine were $309.
Yeah.
No, she's talking about the services.
What's that?
About $4,700. 4 years, it's gone from $3,400 to $4,700.
I'll pay in a minute, and I do every year, because it's, I get fire, roads, sheriff, services.
I don't get fire, I'm in the county.
You get EMS services, so we'll not have that discussion. I'm just saying, I'm more than happy to pay it. So
chip up there.
always do, Terry.
Yours would raise as much as some of the rest of ours.
Yeah. Yeah, and they go more because I feel like this is important to have, and if you don't, then you, whatever. So question remains, it's 500, almost 600,000 to do 6%.
No.
3% would be probably 300,000. And then, Chelsea, go on ahead.
I just wanted to say, I have looked at estimates for what the long-term homeowners exemption will do. And I estimated with 1,500 applicants, which I think is high, we're looking at probably about 108,000.
Less.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just the county general fund piece?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yep.
Okay.
And then overall countywide with all the taxing entities like the schools would be how much?
It would be 636, 152.
So Tracy, are you saying, so then the mill levy amounts would go down, which would maybe the asks would be higher from the entities?
Could be.
Yeah. The fair board, the library, the asks could be higher because their mill levies are going down. So it's not, I think is what you're trying to say, is it's not just a decrease on, I mean, it's overall.
Yeah. I mean, we give assistance to the fire district, through ARPA things now, that we fund their EAP, do we not?
We did.
They get 3 mills currently across the county, except for the northern part of the county in tax district 100. They don't get any mill funding through there, but that will shorten their coffers. I mean, it could definitely have a trickle down effect.
So each 1% is $100,000, quick math, to the bottom line of the across the board. So,
See, can I make a comment?
sure, Jerry, go on ahead, please.
I've been a private employer for 42 years,
Thank you.
and I've hired a lot of people, and I've paid them good wages. And what I've done as an employer, I worked sometimes 40, no, I've never worked 40 hours a week. It's always 60 or 80 hours a week, okay, to make things happen. But and one of the things I see about the private employer, I didn't have all the vacation days. I had to fund my own retirement. Okay, where people working for the county, the city, the state, great job. I want them to be paid on an equitable basis with whatever the private sector is. I think that's fair. Okay, I don't want to pay more. I don't want to pay them less, but whatever the private sector is, just like our law enforcement. We all love our law enforcement. I do. I want them to be paid a fair level wage. I don't want them to go in here to Albany County and get trained and go someplace else. Okay, that's not right. We're a training institution. We don't want to be that. We want to retain those individuals and keep them there. So we want to pay them a fair wage. What that is, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what the deputy should make. I don't know what the sheriff should make. But across the state of Wyoming, I'm sure those numbers are available. How are we compared to other counties, cities, states? How are we compared to those? I don't know the answer to that, but I think that's something that we should find out. You know, and I want the sheriff and the deputies and everybody to pay again on an equal basis so they don't leave. But we can't pay too much, okay? Or we're gonna go in the hole, and we don't want that either. I've been a financial manager for 42 years. I know how to manage money. And I think that's what we need to do here is what's gonna be sustainable. Like somebody mentioned, I don't want to give them a raise, I have to take it away. That would be a terrible thing to do. Or I don't have to fire somebody. That'd be a terrible thing to do. So there's got to be a balance. So how do we find that balance is we need to do some research and find out what that would be.
We've done that research a couple of years ago. We had a complete salary survey throughout the entire county, and we adjusted accordingly. Now, doing that every year is something I can't imagine people with their property tax issues would want to pay for because it's not cheap. And so we have done that, tried to do that, Jerry, and I appreciate your perspective. I too have been in management. I too run a nonprofit.
You know what that is?
And the business that I run, we give away our profit. We give away our service.
Right.
So we understand, and I think both these people understand really well. We're trying to do the best we can with limited resources. If those limited resources get more limited, then I would like the people who don't want to pay taxes to come tell me which sheriff deputy they would like me to fire or which county clerk they would no longer want, because that's the decision we have to make. And I just want that understood, because that is what's going to happen. And we're not fat here, as you can see.
Sure.
Right? We are now looking at a 1.6, 1.7 deficit. We would come in with other reserves, and that will come in with, maybe PILT will come in at 1.7 and maybe we'll be flat, but maybe it won't, and we don't control that. And
My
we won't know
understanding
that
too
till
is
June
that
30th.
the state has got about $29 billion in rainy day fund. Right?
Yeah, you bet.
My understanding is too that we can request some of that money as a backfill. Okay, we talked about that too. Hey, I want everybody to have the good services. I do.
Yeah.
But when I look at my taxes, when I moved here 4 years ago, it was $3,400.
Yeah.
This year was $4,700, and that was after the military discount. So it would have bumped up another $200 or $300 before, so it would be $5,000 without the military discount. Okay, so that's a lot of money. That's a lot of increase, and the value of your property is going up, and that's how it's assessed, right? My neighbor goes down the street, builds a big mansion. My property tax is going to go up. What happens to my insurance? It's also going to go up too, because it's got to kind of work hand in hand. So if my house burns down, I want to be paid for what that fair market value is. Well, I'm out in the county. There used to be a fire station a quarter mile from my house. There isn't one anymore. It's gone. My house catches on fire. Guess what? Nobody's coming but me and the garden hose. And that's about it, because it's going to burn down before anybody gets there.
Yeah. But that's a choice, right? If you want to live
That's a choice.
If you want to live in the city, then we fire right away.
Right.
And if there were
There's
volunteers.
a lot of negatives for living in the city too,
Right,
so.
right. So I guess I would just direct you to the Wyoming Taxpayer Association, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud. The cost of the services given to people in Wyoming and the cost they pay for those services. You're getting a discount, and this is one of the least amount of money per service in the country in Wyoming. And now, if people want to say that it needs to be less, that's their right. But please, when you do that, tell me which deputy you would like me to fire, because
None of them.
that's
Yeah.
what's
So
going
you
to
won't
happen.
be firing a deputy. You might take away a position, but you will not be firing a deputy.
Well, that's semantics,
And
Terry.
I don't know if the
No, it's
6% is a good number or not.
Yeah.
But that's a big raise.
Yes, it's huge. Yes, it
It's
is.
huge.
Yeah.
Hey, can we afford that? I don't know the answer to that because I don't have all the financials.
Yeah.
But can we afford that? I don't know. That's a big raise. But are you talking 6% across the board to every county employee?
Yes,
Correct.
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
And
Huge.
so
Yeah.
I don't know, like in what department, what's comparable, what's not. Is the sheriff's department compared to other sheriff's department, are they underfunded? I don't know the answer to that. But if they are, let's make them equal to what it should be across the board. And if Kayla's department is good, we don't need to give them a raise. I don't want to say that. We don't need to give them a raise because they're comparable with everybody else. And where does that sit with the private sector? I don't know the answers to those questions.
It's less in the county than it is the private sector. I'm
Yeah.
just going to tell you it's less.
Okay.
And maybe when you figure in retirement and benefits, maybe it gets to be
It
equal.
is, you have to figure that in because that's
Yes.
a big,
Yeah,
big thing.
But it's not like people are killing it here.
Yeah,
Okay, and they do a lot of work just like the private sector does.
right.
And I
So
really
did I
will
hear
push
employee
back against-
benefits package was 36%? Is that what I picked up?
Yeah,
That's big. I never funded my retirement at 36% per year.
well, the county doesn't fund it at that.
Health
You know, health
insurance.
insurance and all that.
Yeah, health
Yeah.
insurance is probably a bigger.
Oh,
portion
it's
of it.
gone up. It's huge.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it
probably the
is.
biggest expense.
But you also, there's a lot of benefits and from a private employer, I always thought, well, the people that work for the county and the city, maybe they made a little bit less salary wise, but they made up for it in the benefits package.
I think that's a legitimate thought.
Yeah.
And I think it's still accurate today, and we might not be equal, all things in retirement benefits, healthcare for the private sector. I
Right.
think you still don't make it what you could in the private sector at the government. But that's not the reason everybody goes to work, right? But,
Right.
and so, I appreciate it. For me personally, I don't think 6% is something I can go to
Yeah,
today.
it's tough.
Yes,
That'd be a
I'd
tough
love
number.
to. I'd love to go to 10%, but I don't think we
Yeah.
can. And so how are we gonna do it? I don't know. That's the question.
Should be looked at a department by department basis. If the sheriff's department, police department, they're underfunded or underpaid, I think we should increase those to whatever that's comparable throughout the state of Wyoming. If other departments are doing okay with that, well, maybe we don't need to give them a raise. But
Yeah.
we need to be looked at and, thing is too, if you go to the different counties and it kind of works with one another, we can go to this county, well, we gave our deputies a 6% raise last year. Well, then we need to give ours a 6% raise, right? So it just keeps compounding on top of that.
Yeah, we're trying to make this a systemic approach to raises. And I think our budgeting proves that we've been fairly conservative because we have maintained reserves so that when the roof that we didn't understand was going to come
And
apart.
that's good planning.
Yes, and so we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And unfortunately, it won't be what we'd like to do.
Yeah.
But we'll have to do what we got to do.
Let me give you a little comparison. When I was in Colorado, I escaped, okay? We're good for that. Escaped 4 years ago, right? And I had a house of equal value and I also lived in the county. My taxes were half of what they are here. But I knew that coming to Wyoming, okay? There's no state income tax either. That's a good deal, right?
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when I came here, the taxes that I were paying were more here than what I was in Colorado for a comparable house. And now they've gone up to quite a bit more. Now, I don't know what's happened in Colorado since then, but what did happen, I lost out on it. If you were 65 years old, okay, which I am 65 years old, and you lived in your house for 10 years, your property taxes were cut in half. That wasn't a bad deal. I mean, there's different ways to do all that stuff, right? And that's why we're looking at the initiative and try to help people put more money in their pocket so they can spend more money on a tax basis. If I got more money in my pocket, I'm going to buy another vehicle. I'm going to do something else. to spend, so that's gonna raise up our sales taxes and so forth on that as well. So it's kind of a catch-22. And I don't have the number, but I'm the one that came up with that 2% decrease. It came from the petition that we were doing. Okay, I got it at home, but I don't have it with me. The average salary person in Wyoming earned 2% less compared to the state employees, city employees that earn 36% more. Now, I don't have the validation of that statement right with me.
Yeah, I'd love to see the statistics.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So
Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it. So commissioners, I'm just gonna start the bidding at 3%, $300,000. Somebody to get me off that. I just want to start us off. So.
I have 400,000.
Yeah.
Amanda, what is the figure for 4%?
$414.
What is it for 2.5?
275.5. Or sorry, 278.5. I can read.
You can do numbers, I know that.
I'm much better at
He's good at that.
I don't know about the
Awesome.
reading part, but
Reading.
no, I'm just kidding.
voodoo math.
She's a voodoo mather.
Very, I remember.
I guess not to add complexity, but commissioners, just to think, we'll need a number, and then if there's any direction, we need to supply with that number. So if we say, hey, this goes to the lowest in your 60% of this raise goes to the lowest in your department, whatever, right? Whatever those qualifiers are, we don't have to put any qualifiers, but I'm just saying that is the two jobs I see as I see it.
Well, I think that's the best way to go. Because the people that are the lowest end need the most help.
If you're looking at across the board, will that include your department heads, or are you guys going to deal with your department heads on your own?
And yeah, well, do we have a list of the department heads' salary somewhere that I can take a looky-loo at?
I can get you it.
Would you also accompany that with the market study that was presented before?
What was that?
I asked if you would also combine that with the market study that was presented before as to why you got there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, just like what you justified, where you did a whole county, essentially account adjustment, just so that those numbers are fresh in front of you.
Yeah.
I know that's an out of place ask, I apologize.
Well, what it does is it makes it worse, right? So if department heads get to 3-4% and elected officials are frozen, then the disparity goes worse. And it's easy for me to say that the elected official would be a temporary position. Every 4 years, you might have a job. Whereas department heads, statistically, I wouldn't think that we change department heads every 4 years. So.
Because they have to pay to have that job,
Right. So.
the elected official.
I understand, and I understand the position, but my whole goal is not to make it worse today. I want to give people more money, but I don't want to make it worse. And so that's my goal.
Let me throw this out.
Yes, please.
This is the proposed budget.
Yes.
You could also have a change of opinion or do more research in between when we approve the final budget. Just not that we want to do more work on the day of.
Right. I know we don't want to.
We have done that in the past and we've, that's where we do make clerical mistakes kind of on the spot, delete formulas and worksheets, but.
Well, but we could have another day in between that where we would look at that.
We could
And
do
so
some
it's
work
not on the last day at the last hour with a little research.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely could.
Conversation.
And I'd like to have all the department heads and elected officials in the same room at the same time. I think that conversation is long overdue. So,
We can have that.
and nobody else, just us and the department heads and elected officials.
Well, if it's all three commissioners, it has to be a public meeting, so there's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
Okay.
Right, but yeah, but it could be a work session,
It could be a work session.
right?
yes, but
And
it
so
has
I
to be-
just want to hear from people that,
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah. So
We can do that.
what, do we want to put a placeholder here, everybody, or do you want to? We do have to put something here, right?
Yeah, we gotta have something. So if
Well,
we can-
I'll put it in at 3% on placeholder. I like that. And I'm not sure that's where I'm gonna
Okay.
go, but that's.
Just across the board, at least it'll give us a higher
Yeah,
number.
exactly, just as something in there.
And then I guess my next question is, are you wanting to fund the law enforcement retirement at the 1.8%? The county picks up that, all of that, and the employees do not pick up, because that'll affect how much that number is too. So yes or no?
I had that in there.
She has it in there at the 1.8 for the county picking up that full portion.
Yeah, I would like to, for me personally, I would like to bring them up to what we do for the regular employee of 15.1%, which isn't 1.8%, it's 1.63%. But I just want to be standard about things, and so that's 0.017%, I guess, to the employee.
And that's public, Pete, or
No, just for the
for
sheriffs.
the law?
Yeah, since right now, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, please do. We fund a non-sheriff's position at 15.1%, is the county's pick of their retirement,
Yeah, 15.19.
15.19. And the employee picks up 3.52,
3.43.
3.43, good Lord, Pete.
Ours is 18.62 and theirs is going up to 19, and then the next year it'll go up to 20.8 and 22.6 the next.
So my assertion to you, Terry and Sue, is that we would go 15.19 to employee, and we move the sheriff's office up to 15.19. Which would standardize, we're paying
All
the
across the
exact,
board.
we're paying the exact same. It would not be the 1.8. It would be 1.72. If I got these numbers right. But then everybody would be at 15.1%. The county fund of their retirement. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
I can do that. Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
That's weird because you're gonna have to do 0.0 something
Oh.
to the employee, but
That's not.
okay, I just don't want to cause you more hassle, but I do want to be consistent about that.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam, please.
I had a quick question. I know there's a heartache in the disparity. And this is, again, my immaturity in knowing some of the legislature and some of the executive, but when it comes to an elected official, are you guys allowed to receive either a bonus or a compensation of any form?
No,
Okay, yeah, just curious. No,
our salary is set. Can't
Yes,
be-
yeah, no, your salary wouldn't change. It just,
That,
you guys
that's
aren't,
it.
you are not allowed to
Yes.
receive
You're
anything
not
outside
allowed.
of that.
no,
Understood. And that's at statute, correct?
for every
That's
4
Wyoming
years.
statute.
Wyoming statute. Okay.
And there's a max too in statute as to what we can, what position can make.
Gotcha. So they have a pay table at statute.
No, it's just a max.
It's just a max.
No elected official on the county level, statewide can make more than 145,000 per year.
Gotcha. So they just employ a general cap set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just an
Most counties
educational
are not
piece.
at
Apologize
that.
for interrupting.
no, not at all.
That's how you
As-
figure out all
as
this
I've-
stuff.
Yeah, just, as you guys are continually brainstorming an educational piece, so apologies there.
Yeah,
No,
not at all.
No apologies.
Okay. And then what else do we need to do?
Set it in between. the-
Meeting, a work session?
Let's just do that. So you would like, so we have to have the proposed budget to the paper. And has it right there and there's those 3 hands. The 19th.
Yeah, 19th.
We have to send it to the paper.
But we can advertise this and change it after.
Yes, this is the proposed budget. I was just saying when we had to have the proposed budget. So
Yeah, so but what
How
I
about
was
next
saying was
Monday?
we don't have to have the meeting before then because you're gonna be gone next week.
Oh, you're
I will be gone, well, I will be gone the 12th and 13th. The 10th,
What about the 10th?
Do we really not have anything on the tenth? I thought we
That's
had. We have
I'm
meetings.
I won't be here on the tenth.
Don't we have ERP stuff? But in the afternoon, do we not have anything? So the afternoon of, Tracy, you're gone on Monday?
I'm gone on Monday.
Okay, that would work. The 11th, there's the afternoon, we only have the chart of accounts in the morning. We have pre-agenda at 3, we could work it around pre-agenda.
Yeah, I'm gonna be remotely in the pre-agenda, so I'll be out
Okay,
through the.
what about to the 14th? Sunny, you're out,
I'm gone.
you're gone, okay. How,
Yeah.
hey, Shabbat.
How about the 17th?
We have, we have the afternoon,
Yeah,
available,
I think, don't we, with the, because we have chart of accounts in on.
in the morning. And the 8th, well, we could back it on the commissioners, so the commissioners meeting's on the 18th. We could start early, have a work session prior to the commissioners meeting on the 18th, if we wanted.
Seems logical to me.
I mean, then you're not adding another meeting. We could start at 4, we could start at 5. I mean, if you wanted it, department heads and elected officials
Yeah.
get there, we could start it at 4.
About 5, so
It
we
would-
give ourselves an hour.
It would give us an hour, 5 to 6.
I don't know if it'll be enough
Do you
time.
want to just start it at 4?
4:30?
If you want to start at 4, let's start at 4.
We'll go at 4?
Let's do 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 4 on the
We get done
18th.
and we decide to run and eat, then
Okay, on the 18th. Okay. Okay, and just a work session regarding budget. Is that all right? I just leave it that vague?
Yep.
We can talk about whatever. Okay. I don't think I have any other, Tracy, do you have any other?
Do you want me to leave those direct aid transfers into the general fund as I had presented them? It was like 1 point. I'll bring it up really quick. Of course I'm sharing, but it doesn't give me the stop sharing. You see this stop sharing? You said take point.
Do you want me to force you off there, Tracy?
No.
That sounds terrifying.
All right, there wasn't a sugarcoat there. If you'd like me to place you elsewhere.
No, I'm just gonna try to reshare. A different one. A different screen. Oh, the whole spreadsheet. Oh, is that? Little window. Oh, you see. Is that my phone? Yeah. I know how to use Zoom. A few years into it. There we go. Okay. These are the direct aid transfers I was referring to.
And those are known, or those just anticipated?
Those are the anticipated
Okay.
expenditures for those line items. And I base those solely off of that's what we have done in the last, I think, 5 years.
Okay. I'm fine with putting that in.
yeah.
You all right? Okay, please.
And I think that's the only,
And then is PILT in this, is that added into this, GF 1%, DA, CRF tab on the budget totals spreadsheet.
The help revenue.
Yeah,
It's on this worksheet here for my office's revenue. It is at this $1,230,432 based on what the WCCA revenue estimating manual.
okay, and that's in your revenue on
Yeah.
this spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And if it goes higher, then we'll add
It's just
to the
more
revenue. Okay.
Yeah, on the cash on hand. Let me open that and I'll share what I've calculated.
Tracy, if we're gonna transfer, into the building reserve and things like that, do we want to do that at that work session on the 18th?
Yeah, any of the transfers, yeah.
Okay, because then we would have our numbers.
We would have better numbers if they wanted.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
The increase things.
So when I look at this spreadsheet tonight, after you guys all updated it or whatever, or sometime this week.
I'll update, we'll get it all updated and I will reshare it to you guys in that OneDrive, if
Okay.
that's helpful.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Okay, I'll do that. Once we get, maybe we'll all meet after we're done and then we can make sure our numbers are all looking good and then we can give that to you guys.
Great.
Yeah,
So when I start to estimate the cash on hand for the end of this fiscal year, whoa. There we go. This is how much cash we have on hand right now in the general fund is the 1.9 million. Of course, we still have all of the June expenditures and payroll yet to come out, but we also have more money coming in at that time too. So built, because the president did sign it for full funding, I put it in at 1.6 million. The May revenues just with property tax, sales tax, and the other ones that we collect in my office. And these are only my revenues. It doesn't include anybody else's revenues. Because I don't feel should be estimating other offices' revenues. But just based on my revenues in my office, what we bring in between property tax, motor vehicle, and all the sales tax and everything, we should have an inflow of 4.1 million. And then for payroll and the remaining warrants, I based these numbers for the June 10th voucher run and the June 25th on what budget is remaining in the general fund after the expenditures that have already been made. So there's about 1.2 million left. Do I think we're going to spend all that? Probably not. I think if we do, then we've got a bigger issue. And then payroll, this is all the payroll associated taxes, health insurance and all those things, roughly for the general fund for the month.
yeah. So it's fair to say that we have enough cash on hand generally if these fall out for a month. Ish, less, a little bit less, right? If everything went away,
If all the,
right? All the revenue sources, right? This is how business talks about it. We need 6 months cash on hand, right?
Yeah.
We have a month.
yeah, on hand right now. This doesn't include any reserves. That's just our actual operating account
Yeah,
that we write checks in and out of.
so just needs to be known, right, to the public, right?
That's
Any,
1 month of expenditures is about 3 million.
okay. So we're finished. Does anybody have anything else you'd like to do or say? Nope. All right.
So
Anything?
can I
Yes.
clarify one thing? So for the meeting, for the budget meeting on the 18th, you want us, what is your direction? You want me to invite all of the department heads and elected officials?
Yep.
And what would you like us to have prepared for you? So just so I can make sure that I have everything, what you guys want for direction.
So your reaction to the 3%, and how you feel like it should be spent within your department. That's for me. What would you all like to add to that?
Because I'll send that out in an email to all the department officials.
Anything else?
Well, I'd like to get, I mean, I'm really thinking that it should be 2.5, not 3, but, reaction to 2.5. Cause I'm really concerned about the being able to continue this.
Sustain it.
Yeah. That's fine.
I can let him in the, in the email, let him know that we're looking at either 2.5% or 3%, what those numbers would be. And then what their reaction is on how they'd like that to be spent in their department. Is that okay?
That sounds good.
Yep. And then a little back,
Starts the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
and then a little background that you all supplied, Adam today was like, this is your fixed, right? And it does have compression issues in your departments, so nobody else can go above 92.5 unless we want to pay an employee more than their boss, which is weird. So, yeah. That conversation, I think, maybe it's not understood, maybe it is, I don't know.
I'm just not well educated. It's okay.
No. I mean, a lot of this is opaque sometimes. So,
Most people are thinking it, Adam, they just don't have the guts to ask, so.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
you guys
that
wanna
you're
have a
fine to do
transparent
it.
conversation, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
There's no harm in asking.
Yeah,
You don't ask, you never find out.
we are in this together, is how I view it.
Yeah.
And
And I don't think anybody's trying to pin anybody
No.
against each other or point fingers at anybody. I
No.
think it's just a matter of these are public funds and we're trying to do the best that we can with them. That benefits everybody.
yes,
So I appreciate that.
well, thank you all, appreciate it. Jerry, thank you for attending 2 straight days. There should be some medal.
Lord, extremity here.
Yeah, there should be
I can
some
tell
medal
you,
for that.
Gary, this is so much better than it was
8 years ago.
8, 9 years ago. I mean, oh my goodness.
Well, can you remember that out at Road and Bridge when we had those meetings out there?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, even